back, everybody, to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, Mashle, Dr. Stone, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 15. I'm your host, Knox.
And Nickums.
And before we get into the conversation tonight, of course, we'd like you to take a look at the description down below. That's going to have our link tree in it. That's going to be where you see us on our individual social media accounts like Twitter, ways that you can join online communities like our Discord, ways that you can listen to Project Manga wherever you normally listen to your podcasts, and ways that you can support what we do here by checking out our online store or our Patreon. But getting in to the discussion tonight, Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 15. And we got a full roster once again. Holy moly rockets.
Big week.
This is a massive week, especially with Dr. Stone. Can't wait for that conversation. Oh my god. But let's kick things off with Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 142. And this one's called A Big Brother's Back. Yo, dude. Okay, so a couple things right off the bat that I want to say is that, remember how last week we were talking about like the path that Naoya was taking while fighting like Choso, and how it seemed like he was like doing more than he needed to just to flex his speed. You know what I mean? And it seemed like he was taking these very awkward, like, go around this way, then come back around, like, kind of like pass. And I feel like he's doing that again, because when he takes off this time, Choso starts to look one direction, but then has to, like, turn back the other direction again, because it feels like Naoya, like, faked him out one direction and then came back around another direction.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just still flexing that FPS speed, I feel like, is what's going on.
I love
here.
that. Yeah.
And then you have now you're like, okay, he's adjusted to me because flowing red scale is doping, so you get you know, the doping in pretty much every way. Physically makes sense that you would be able to get it ocularly. You know what I mean? It's essentially he's basically fighting him on a bunch of Adderall right now,
right?
You know what I mean? Yeah, which is like shit like that, which is like really cool dialogue to get there.
And like the drawing on page 2, like of him, like as he's like doing this like immense like high speed turn, trying to catch up with Naoya, and like you can see his like the veins around his eyes like bugging out, and like and even his pupils in that middle panel, like where it's like the light, you know, kind of like shifting as he's like, you know, turning so fast. Oh, it just like looks incredible. Yeah,
it looks amazing, and getting these panels right before that dialogue about how he's straining, you know, ocular veins and things like that. Really, I didn't even notice like that middle panel was an example of what Naoya is talking about until you just pointed it out. That's really fucking cool, man. Choreography always continues to slap.
Hell yeah.
I like how Naoya pulls out this knife, right? This curse tool. Because like I was thinking about it when Naobito was fighting. I was like, okay, cool, you're really strong, you're beating the shit out of Dagon, but like where does your lethal damage come from? You know what I mean? It's kind of like what I thought during the Shibuya incident. And sure, you could probably just keep whapping them with cursed energy until they run out of defense. But like when you're fighting something with cursed energy levels of defense, or just someone with ridiculous level of defense anyway, and you don't necessarily have a very damaging, you know, technique. You know what I mean? Like, what do? You probably supplement that with curse tools the way that we've kind of seen in the series. But I like that Naoya makes a point to say, like, hey, this is weird, man. I don't really like having, you know, a weapon because you're supposed to stand up on your own too. You know what I'm saying? It's shameful that, you know, that you have to rely on a weapon or whatever. Yeah, it's weak. And he makes a comment about Toji.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and he was like, dude, my brothers just walk around with their swords on their hips. They don't let anybody see them. They don't care. And he what was his line of dialogue here? He says, I'm amazed at how they complained about Toji. And I'm assuming that he's saying this because they flame Toji for just being cursed energyless. But then they get to walk around with their shame on their hips. You know what I mean? Is what I think that he's trying to say here. And that's really fucking cool.
For sure. Or Toji's like a weapon master, right?
Or
like
Toji's a weapon master.
Since he doesn't have cursed energy, he has to rely on cursed tools. And so they're like, Toji sucks, he has to rely on cursed tools. Well, so do they if they have their swords at their hip all the time, you know, constantly going out to battle with these swords or whatever. It's like, well, you have a weapon too. What does it matter if it's 1 or 20 or whatever? You know?
I thought about that too. And like Toji does keep hella weapons on him. And I feel like this conversation could go, because it's like, why would motherfuckers that like tout their weapons proudly complain about anyone relying on weapons when they know that
Sure.
they do. So like that's why I thought it was like, oh, look at Toji, you know, so shameful. He ain't got no cursed energy. But then this is just Naoya's perspective of, but look at your swords on you. You know what I mean? You guys carry your sword. That's kind of just how I did. But that is cool. I think you could be right. Yeah, that is cool to think about though, because if we are seeing hypocrisy to that degree inside of the Zenin clan, then like that I feel like does a lot for. I mean, at least now that I'm thinking about it now that you kind of laid it out that way, now it makes me kind of like look at the Zenin clan a little bit differently than
more critically.
More critically. Yeah, absolutely. But I love how whatever theme Gege puts or Gege decides to focus on in this manga, they write the shit out of it, dude. This brother theme, this brother like conversation that Choso and Naoya are having throughout this chapter is brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, and it's something that it's obviously big for Choso's character. He's all about his brothers and things like that. And I never thought that while we get all of this intense Choso brother stuff, that we would be introduced to a character that embodies like Choso's exact opposite outlook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're introducing like an antithesis to Choso's you know, character in Naoya essentially in this confrontation. And that's really cool how Gege plays with parallels and juxtapositions and opposites, you know, and dichotomies. And the way that we get this fleshed out inside of two very, very side characters. You know what I mean? Choso's obviously a lot more relevant. You know, nowadays we know actually a lot about Choso at this point from the start of his fight with Yuji all the way until now. But Naoya is brand new. You know what I mean? And it's like it's just focusing on, you know, a fight between two characters this far into the sideline is this compelling. You know what I mean? And this, like, I want to know everything about these two characters, and I need to see, like, this fight is, like, there's a lot of shit going on right now in the background, but, like, this fight can be center stage, and I'm not, like, where's everything else? You know what I mean? Like,
no, for sure.
Love that.
We were talking about last week or 2 weeks ago about this exact thing that Choso, since he's a death painting, right? Like, he has infinite blood.
Yes.
As long as he has cursed energy. And I love that they just lay it out here, right? Like, and he even counters the knife attack, not with what Naoya expects, right? Naoya's like, well, you're a blood manipulator. Like, obviously, repairing wounds is like what you're best at. Obviously, coagulating blood, stopping bleeding. So whatever, it doesn't matter, I guess. But at least it's going to distract you. So he assumes Choso's going to heal the wound. But no, he does the opposite. I'm going to bleed
I'm going to hemorrhage out everything that I have right now in hopes to get blood on you.
So and it's like a torrent. It's like a wave of blood coming out of him.
I loved that. I loved everything about that, because it's like, it made a lot of sense when I was reading that line of dialogue. I was like, okay, now he's got to focus on making sure he doesn't bleed out while he's fighting. Choso's out of here, but then he's like, nope, rouge, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy that I'm sitting here like thinking that Naoya, why doesn't Naoya know about death paintings? Are they're that like hidden, like or that secret?
Even if he knows about them, does he know that Choso is one? I don't think he does.
Now, this is my question. If he does know what death paintings are and how they work, him being confused about the toughness of this enemy should only last a little bit. You know what I mean? If you're giving your all against a human enemy and their ability isn't directly related to defense and endurance, you know what I mean? And you put that together, I would feel like a high-level jujutsu sorcerer like Naoya should be able to be like, this is not a human being. You know what I mean? This is something else. You know what I mean? Like,
I do agree with you to an extent, but Choso's ability is blood related, right?
Sure.
So I mean, like, maybe it's just a really, I mean, it's bleeding a lot, right? Like, maybe he just is thinking that it's a really, really, really good blood ability, like the pinnacle of all blood abilities, right? Maybe eventually he would like put two and two together and be like, but still, it doesn't make sense for him to bleed so much. So, like, maybe he is more than just human. Maybe he'll realize that, like, after the fight.
Maybe he realizes it now, and it's too late because he gets hit with the fucking supernova buckshot. That shit I was so happy to see that again, because he sends the wave out, and he's like, okay, I got to make sure I don't get this blood on me. Then you get this giant like razor disc blood disc that shoots out, and he's like, what a slow attack. He must be dying from the blood loss after all. And then it's bink, you know, and I bet you Choso isn't even planning to hit him here with this. This is literally just him throwing feints out to
it's to get him to like dodge nearer to the blood, so he gets the blood on him probably.
Yeah. Oh, I see that now. Actually, yeah, because you want to know what? And this is another one of his things, because the projectile, the piercing blood projectile, comes to him on 12, and then he dodges it like to the left if it's to his left, but then it shows him in the next panel dashing to his right.
Yeah.
So he it's just so many cool ways to show his speed in the paneling. You know what I mean? Because we have not yet gotten like a diagram panel of Naobito or Naoya hitting themselves with this technique and showing the the frames per second breakdown. I thought we would see that at some point of at least in diagram form like that, just so you could see like how it works on offense, not just on, or how it works on buffing, and not just on like defense or offense against against a person. But the way that we're seeing it, it's like I don't even need that shit, bro. Like just studying the paneling, like, and just taking a little bit longer to look at it, you can see so much cool movements that he's able to do, which I would assume is because of his technique. It's like the way that he dodges, the way he moves around, cuts back, and goes the opposite way. It's all being shown so well and so dynamic in the choreography.
Well, let me ask you a question about this choreography, right? So like bottom of 12 into 13, right? We see a foot on the blood. Is that Naoya dodging, or is that Choso riding the wave? As if he like jumped onto the blood, rid it into a kick onto the top of 13.
Oh my, that's so much cooler than what I thought, because I thought this was Naoya trying to retreat and Choso stepping on his foot so that he can kick him with the other one and like kind of like stop him. Yeah.
There's definitely something like besides the foot. It's like either like an after image or something.
I think what you said is what it is now, and I think that's like the coolest fucking shit.
It would certainly be badass as hell.
It's like Sub-Zero sliding in on the ice into the kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, bro. Oh, I love that. That is so cool. But I love how also, because I'm thinking in this fight, someone left a really cool comment in our comment section. Can't remember who it is, but they were like, I thought Choso was about to hit a domain expansion. And I was like, yo, yes, can we get that next chapter? And then I'm reading this chapter, and then he slices him with the dagger, and the blood starts like flowing out. And I was like, he's gonna make a blood wave bubble domain and like trap him in. I was like, yes, I thought that's what we were going to see, but this is way cooler. You know what I mean? Like, even though a domain makes sense, Choso's kind of on his back foot. He's exhausted like all of his techniques that we've seen so far from Shibuya Incident. Obviously, we're seeing that he has other things like making the blood on his Hakama denser, so he can't like move and shit. Like, that's tight. Okay, but anyway, seriously. I thought it made all the sense in the world that like we would see a domain if he had. It makes sense that he could have one. We see them more inside of curses than humans anyway, you know what I mean? And we haven't really seen a new character's domain in a really long time. I'm pretty sure we still only have like 6 total in the entire series. So we could see one right now justifiably, and it would make sense. It wouldn't seem like we're getting too many domains at once. But Gege has really creative ways to have characters win or lose fights first, using the basics of the understanding of the energy system, excluding domains. And like it's cool to know that yes, you could have used a domain right here, but you chose a really cool fight and interesting strategy and like tactics on how to make your characters win, and Gege uses those first. And it's like, okay, just knowing that they could just throw a domain out whenever they want. They don't need a domain. You don't need to throw that element into your fight to make it epic. You know what I mean? You know how to do that yourself without your biggest move. I think that a lot of mangaka could learn from this, because I feel like a lot of them some of them rely on transformations or big attacks, or just like throwing like holy shit unknown new energy out whenever they want to spice up a conflict, you know what I mean? And I think that it's a lot more impressive to show how you have characters deal with things without relying on trump cards to that degree, and I think that Gege is a prime example of that.
For sure. And it just makes the trump cards all the more impressive when they do happen, right? Like if it's a really long time until we see the next domain, it's going to be epic. It's going to be the coolest shit ever. Because we've only seen so many, you know what I mean? So it's if you can use it, if you have the skill to make fights interesting with the mid-level techniques,
yes,
then it really pays dividends on the high-level techniques.
exactly.
For sure.
You said it perfectly. You know what I mean? And especially coming out of Shibuya incident, where we had a lot of domain usage and we had a lot of Black Flash usage. You could see, just based on the history of Shonen, then that should say that a lot of people are about to start using Black Flashes and domain expansions from Shibuya moving onward, because a lot of mangaka don't know how to match that level, of epicness, without. We've seen it, you know what I mean? We've seen it before, inside of Shonen. So, but Gege, it's just good to know that Gege has a plan for compelling strategic fights first and foremost, and I feel like we'll see that, throughout the entire series. I feel like Gege will not give up that dynamic, for anything. I feel like it feels like, and I said it on the show before, that Gege has kind of like studied the history of Shonen and has really good taste on what's cool and what's not, and is just saying this, and this makes it into my comic. This, and that doesn't. I'm sorry. We just have the best of every world inside of this book. So
totally agree.
Yeah.
So looking at 14, top of 14.
Yeah.
Initially when I saw this, right, my first reaction was, it looks like this blood around Choso is like wings, right? Like butterfly wings or something.
Yeah.
Didn't one of his brothers have wings like that?
Yeah.
So I thought it was like, So I thought this was like a throwback or like a related like brotherhood ability type thing, right?
God,
of the wings.
Yo, that could be a tribute to Esso, bro.
It could be, but then now that when I was looking more at it, right?
Yeah.
It also kind of looks like he's collecting all the blood and bringing it into his hands, right? Because like you can barely see it in the middle panel. Of course, like it's zoomed in on him, so maybe you're not meant to see the overall large wings around him.
Right.
But like then on 15, still no like quote unquote wings around him. So as cool, maybe it started off as wings and it was meant to look like wings, and then it was like sucking into the supernova charge or whatever. But like anyway, beautiful art regardless.
Beautiful art, and that is like really, now that you mention it, I think it is safer to say that it is just a collection of blood coming to the supernova or the piercing blood stance or whatever.
Yeah.
But it totally still at the same time could be a tribute, just because of the brother theme, and is so strong in this chapter. I love that idea, even if it's not that. Like, that's really cool. Yeah.
Right.
And then you get the stare off. Now you realizes, whoa, he's not like shooting me yet. He's supposed to be shooting me by now. Like, what's going on? Nope. Boom. Choso original into the. It's like you thought it was gonna be a straight line projectile, that your speed was gonna be. No, it's a fucking shotgun.
Yep.
And it's like, that's how you deal with someone who can literally dodge any point blank shot, like single projectile that you can shoot out. Is just make the damage come from literally everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like as they say, like close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and here we have a hand grenade, right? Like,
right.
I can't hit him, but I can get close.
Yes. I
love the dialogue, or sorry, the narration or whatever on bottom of 15. Like, this move was a Choso original. One, that sounds cool as fuck by itself, right? A Choso original, but born of Choso, honing his own curse technique for 150 years. You know what I mean? Like in the womb vial or whatever he was in, right? Like,
wait a minute, bro. I think this is a Yu Yu Hakusho tribute right now.
Really?
Because I'm pretty sure the first time Yusuke uses shotgun, he says it's a Yusuke original. And then he sends this, he has the spirit gun, but then he has the shotgun in the spread shot. I'm pretty sure. Now, don't quote me on this. This might be, fan head whatever. But like,
you just recently were watching Yu Yu Hakusho.
I was recently just watching it. Yeah, I want to say that that could be a Yusuke tribute there.
That'd be so sick.
Yu Yu Hakusho fans, double check me though.
Yes.
Yeah, let me know. But wow. And I love this line of dialogue in the Supernova spread page.
Yes.
Where he's like, sorry, but you didn't love your brothers. And I can't understand that. Like, what a badass final word to say as you clap him, bro. Like, that line of dialogue at the end just like makes this feel like a complete story from like start to end. Like, I'm the eldest of 10 brothers, brother conversation, fighting. I'm an older brother. You're a younger brother. You know what I mean? There's so much happening thematically inside of this fight, all for it to come rounded off at the end with this amazing line of dialogue. You know what I mean? It's like he wins physically and thematically. You know what I mean? And like, that's just so strong, bro. It reminds me of back in the Shibuya incident. Remember when I was praising that Todo chapter and how it felt like a complete like
Yes.
story, you know what I mean,
Yes.
from start to finish, you know what I mean? It's just another one of those. Gege can just drop these like that. That's ridiculous.
It's like Oda in that respect, right?
Yes.
Like where Oda can like take a character you don't give any shits about Senior Pink, you know what I mean? Like, who's this guy wearing a diaper?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in 2 chapters you get 2 chapters of backstory and you're crying by the end. It's like that's skill to have a self-contained story within a story. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
And especially with such a character like Senior Pink, where you're like, there's no way anything interesting can come from this.
Yes.
And then you tie his aesthetic into the grief of his backstory. And it's like, oh my god damn it. But yeah, bro. Okay, so Choso wins, and then Yuta instantly pulls up carrying Yuji like a bag of fucking trash. What? Bow, backhands him, one shot, done. Look at that face. I love Gege is so good at that, at like showing the instant trauma of just getting your shit pushed in by somebody. Geto, that old man in the hidden inventory flashback that tried to fight Geto, and then Geto versus Yuta in the flashback, boom, and then Nanami versus Shigamo in the Shibuya incident, boom. I love seeing Gege show characters just get rocked, bro. It's so good in his art style. But so what do you think's going on here? Looks like you're hurt now, yeah. What do you think?
I assume
he's about to do here.
I assume he's about to do reverse curse healing.
Oh damn.
And just like immediately heal him and be like, "Yep, I'm on your team. I'm a good guy. I'm a good boy. I'm just gonna heal you right here." Obviously, that was my first guess.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Now that I'm thinking about it here, we know that Yuta's like Yuta's ability is related to copying curse techniques. We know that back in the prequel, back when the Rika situation was fully realized, that he could copy curse techniques unconditionally. We know that there is a difference between the Yuta now and the Yuta from back then. I want to assume he still has his full range of capabilities, but just like grounded to a certain degree. So I could see it being like, yo, you looks like you're hurt now, yeah? I could handle this for you. Borrow me your curse technique real quick. And it's got to be like a mutual, like a Leol from Hunter x Hunter.
Yes,
he can still copy techniques, but there's a couple conditions you have to pass now instead of just unconditional copying. And since there are conditions tied, to it, if potentially there is, that could mean that whatever technique he gets, well, no, because I wouldn't want to say that it could be stronger because of the conditions, because it was unconditional copying at the highest level. Like he could literally just see you use your shit and then use it at maximum proficiency back then. I was going to say that maybe because he has conditions attached to it now, potentially, that it makes his ability stronger, but I don't think that there's going to be a difference there since he had maximum power before. But still, I think that would be a cool spin on it. I think that and this is just coming from me looking at this last page right now. Looks like you're hurt now, yeah. And I could just see the next line of dialogue being like, borrow me your technique real quick, bro. I'll handle this like right. But at the same time, I feel like Yuta, he already dealt with Choso. You know what I mean? He kind of already like one-shotted Choso. He seems to be done. So it's like, why would he? There's no
What's
threat
the argument?
there.
Yeah,
there's no threat there. But another threat could pull up, and then we could get this, that scene potentially. But
alternative, if there is a restriction on his ability, it could be not as drastic as needing consent. Maybe he can't just see it. Maybe now he has to like say touch you.
Oh,
and
sure.
Maybe
he's got his hand glowing.
Maybe he's about to be like, I came in here, did my job, but I'm gonna take a little something for myself here. Tap tap. Okay, thanks for the technique, buddy. I'll see you later. Maybe this thing with Yuji is all an act. Like Yuji's conscious and just right there, ready to go, and the Choso thing is an act, and he's about to obliterate now. Right?
Oh my god! If Yuji's not actually like because if you think that he's going to, because your original idea was he's going to reverse cursed heal now,
yeah.
What if he just did that for Yuji already? And he's like, all right, play dead or something. That would be some twisty shit. We're getting super crazy into like headcanon.
That's super crazy for sure. Yeah,
but,
for sure.
If it is a situation like that, something that I thought about also is like maybe Sukuna was smirking in the last chapter after Yuji took the damage. Sukuna was like, what the fuck? And then like after was like, oh shit. And then like smirked. Maybe he like smirked because he noticed that Yuta missed Yuji's vital organs on purpose. and was like,
Ah,
oh, I see what you're doing here type shit. You
sure.
know what I mean? It could
You're
be,
making it look like something's, bad. It looks
yeah,
making it look like he's dead, but really,
yeah,
okay, I see. You're actually a good guy.
yeah.
Okay.
But then it begs the question, like, no one was really watching them. So like,
Sure.
who did he do that for? If this was all just to make Yuji look like he was unconscious for this scene or for
Mhm.
this moment that's coming up, could have done that without stabbing him in the solar plexus. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But or
And that's where we
maybe
are getting pretty off the rails or whatever in terms of
yeah.
theorizing or
But
whatever.
it could
yeah.
also be a situation where Yuta didn't think that Yuji would play along and had to
Yeah.
like knock him out for real, or
Right.
whatever. I don't know.
Or
I have no
they were
idea.
out on the street and like
Mhm.
you actually don't know who's watching, so
Sure.
just in case someone's
Sure.
watching, you do it, but now they're underground and now
Yeah.
no one's watching,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Oh man, I'm still got my fingers crossed for Sukuna techniques coming at some point in this arc.
Sure.
But I think that this like twisty kind of like plan kind of situation would be pretty wild too.
Mhm.
But man, so many possibilities, and it's like where's Megumi at?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's like either Megumi is gonna show up here, or maybe he's going to. We're gonna see Megumi with Sumiki, his sister. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? We could see he could just not be showing up at all, and he's just at the crib or whatever with her,
Sure.
or the hospital or wherever she's at. But either way, I feel like, because I mean, Naoya's cooked.
Mhm.
Yuji is apparently out. Choso
Mhm.
just got one-shotted, so I mean, it's just
Yeah.
Yuta here in a good position. So either they're all at his will, and he's just gonna do whatever the fuck he's going to do, or someone else is going to show up right now. And if it's
Right.
like, if it's not Megumi, then who's it gonna be? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
We'll
yeah.
see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I guess we'll see. Yeah, I could see this being round up everyone and bring them back to base type shit. You know what I mean? And then we finally kind of get the slowed down, because this did kind of go super high octane right out of Shibuya incident. We were all expecting self reflection and a chill down time. So I know that some people are complaining about how it went right back into fighting, but if it sets up, a situation where I have to round up all these people to bring us back for a hostage situation, then yeah, you probably need to fight first. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I think that I do think that Gege will not squander the opportunity to give really good stretches of character development writing. You know what I mean? Or character, reflection, whatever.
Right.
Character
Right.
focus, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I could totally see it slowing down for a little bit after this and going into, a hog time and throw him in the back of the van kind of thing.
For sure, definitely.
Yeah. But super excited for the next one anyway. But I think I'm good on Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay, getting into Dr. Stone, chapter 189. Shit, where's the title? Here we go. Our Dr. Stone. Now, first and foremost, this cover spread. Did you ever read Sunken Rock?
No.
I think this is a homage to Sunken Rock right now, which is
Okay.
another manga.
Yeah,
that
Boichi.
did. The only reason why I'm saying that is because I literally just saw someone share a panel on the timeline on Twitter shortly before we started recording this of Sunken Rock with literally characters like all in these positions. Like I haven't read Sunken Rock, but it was literally like main character sitting exactly like this with like his whole squad behind him. You know what I mean? So I want to say that this could be a Sunken Rock crossover with Dr. Stone, because they are celebrating 4 years. That was arguably Boichi's biggest manga before Dr. Stone, so I could definitely
Senku is definitely looking very serious in this double spread, in this cover spread. So like, and I've not read Sunken Rock, but like he looks vaguely like a face that guy would make, or you know what I mean, like serious. I don't know.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that there. Sunken Rock fans in the comments, if you
hit us up.
Felt that, let us know. But I think that'd be really cool if that was like
that'd be super cool
in that way. But holy shit, this chapter, man.
Ooh, man.
Oh
man.
My god, bro.
So how are they gonna turn this around?
I have no idea how they're gonna turn that. But one thing that I do want to say is that this is one of the boldest chapters that I've seen in Shonen, like, period. And I think the reason why is because, like, this is just not the manga where you think that something like this could happen. You know what I mean? And it's always had such a campy, veil over it, because it's not about stakes, really. It's about the adventure and the invention and the science, you know what I mean? So whenever there's conflict thrown in Dr. Stone, Riichiro Nigaki can write the shit out of that conflict, but I'd never actually worry about anyone in this series. you know, which is a complaint that I make in other manga that we review, but the way that Dr. Stone is handled to not be as much about the stakes of the conflict has always just allowed that to be okay for me. But then now, inside of a series like this where everything should already be expected, you throw one of the most unexpected, you know, events over the last couple of chapters into it, and it's like, I've never felt uncertainty, you know, and stakes like this before, you know what I mean? And it's like, because you legitimately, like, you want to say, sure, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel is that vague, you know, quote from Tsukasa last chapter about how maybe the Dr. Stone can catch us in a near death state, you know what I mean? And all of that stuff. And that sounds great, but like, they don't got this motherfucker working yet, bro. And it's like, there's not too long. You can be dead.
Yeah,
before you're just dead. You know what I mean? So it's like, and it makes you go, okay. So if they do legitimately die and they're past a revival threshold, and the Dr. Stone heals them anyway, like, what is that? Like, how is that going to make us feel? You know what I mean?
Right.
But in the meantime, god damn.
It's like the part of Dragon Ball, like, where like people are dying. You know Dragon Balls exist, but you like you don't know all about them. You don't know how hard it is to get them and that kind of stuff. So like, people are dying. You do feel for them, and we might take the Dragon Ball route of there was never any reason to worry at all. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we're just gonna use, you know, the petrification ray to freeze you, revive you again, and we're gonna do that forever. But maybe not. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Hyoga's dead. Maybe Tsukasa's dead. Maybe Kohaku will die. Like, I don't. Maybe Taiju. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's just the vibe of the chapter. Like, throughout the entire chapter, is just confirmation among the crew of what's coming, and then everyone just like resolving themselves to their fates, getting amazing monologues off, and then just the despair of the actual attack happening. And everyone being killed with no obvious light at the end of the tunnel and over like the last like 3 chapters. You don't see that. Usually if you're going to do this, you know what I mean? There's got to be something obvious in the back of our heads that say things are going to be okay, especially in a series that's been as historically campy as Dr. Stone. There's supposed to be a light at the end of the tunnel if you're going to do this, and there just is none. Just look at everyone, like you can see Ryusui. You know, Ryusui's got to be a cool guy, you know what I'm saying? But his back is to the camera the whole fucking, you know, the whole time, because he's like, god damn, like, we're really about to get caught with our pants down, you know what I mean? And everyone, you could tell that vibe. They're trying to keep up appearances, you know, for the reader and, you know, for the dramatic irony or whatever, you know, but like, everyone, if you go back through this after reading it, you could see Senku on page 9, like right before he tells Luna to bounce, you know what I'm saying? He's like, nope, it's over. You know what I'm saying? Ryusui right after that, head down, like, yeah, you go with them, Chelsea, you know what I'm saying? And then right after that, right after Chelsea's like, all right, peace, you see Senku and Ryusui like, fuck, bro, it's over, you know what I mean? And then, whoa, what's up? We're the fan club team. Why are we just letting our Luna run off? Aren't we supposed to be her bodyguards? And Buddy's just like, nah, G.
Nah, dude.
It's not. Come on, man.
Read the room.
Yeah, read the room, man. And it's like, wait. I didn't notice this my first read through it. I had to go back through again and be like, man, the proof is in the. And then you have Ukyo putting shit together, you know, and him just being like, damn, you know, everyone is just like, it's over. And then it's over. You know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom. I've never seen despair like this. You know, or maybe I have, but I can't remember the last time I felt real. Like, I'm trying to think of like 7 Deadly Sins, when the 10 Commandments arc first started and Galen came through and just served up the entire cast. It's feeling like that, but like at the very end of that chapter, you saw that Gauther put a fucking memory arrow like on the back of Galen's neck, so that was the light at the end of the tunnel. You don't have that in here, man. Everyone's just dead. Look at Taiju, son. Look at Gen's face after Taiju is blown up in this very, like, it looks like Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. You know what I'm saying? Just stark black, big white eyes, and then just like into the high detail of the next panel next to it of him like, wake up, Taiju. Like, can't prank a prankster, bro. Like, you're unlimited defense, Taiju. What's going on, man? And he's just burnt to a fucking crisp. Like, the imagery used to show, it's like you're not trying to show everything and be super graphic, but the detail that's there is very telling. You know what I mean? And I think that is just masterfully done by Boichi. But one thing, Gen was not shown assassinated,
Mm-hmm.
and neither was Ukyo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Gen and Ukyo. And then obviously you have Ginro and Matsukaze like still tied up. So there's still shooters out there, but like
you still got Senku and Kaseki.
Oh yeah, you still got Senku ran off, bounced off with Kaseki. I thought Kaseki died. But yeah, besides Senku, I was going to say Senku, Gen, Ukyo was like, but then Kaseki's there too. But still, like we have some shooters here, but it's like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I have a couple ideas, I guess.
Okay.
Going back to, let's see here, the first page. Back to first page. Taiju is testing out the speaker system, right? Of when they eventually will have the Medusa created and fully working, and testing the speaker system so that anyone in the complex can activate it, right?
Right.
I think this is an interesting page because it's really portraying that this thing is super loud. Like, not like really loud, but like immensely loud, so loud it broke like the dish, right?
Right.
What they have here is a sonic weapon.
What they have here is a what?
A sonic weapon. Like they could easily point this at Stanley and damage him with sound waves, right?
Oh.
If they thought to do it. And of course this is a team of big brains, so like I think they will think to do it. The other
That's a great call.
Right. And the only other thing I can think of that maybe is a light at the end of the tunnel is they're trying to obviously make these diamonds like work, and they can't seem to get it to work, right? Like, and even on the last page, right, top left panel, you see all these diamonds, right? All these, perfectly crafted looking diamonds.
Yes.
And obviously these are all failures. Every single one of them is a failure because they've not gotten any to work yet. And then it goes in the next panel of it showing them, like, I guess, burning to a crisp, potentially, right? Maybe the diamonds themselves are gone. But my other idea was, what if, recall that the diamonds they were pulling out of the Medusas were charred. What if it wasn't because they were used and they were charged?
It's because of the entrance into the atmosphere from when they dropped it up super high?
I was going to say, maybe. I was going to say because you need to char them to make them work.
Oh.
So this is the last piece of the puzzle. They have all these diamonds that are like somewhat complete, but not fully complete.
And now they just all got set on fire because there's hella explosions happening right now.
And so like as one last ditch effort, next chapter, right? Someone's gonna pick one of these charred diamonds off and just try one more time.
Yeah.
And fit it into a Medusa, 3,000 meters, 1 second, and it will finally work. You know what I mean? And
that's so good, bro. Cause see, when you mentioned this last page, and I see the diamonds falling. And then I see them burning up. I just figured entrance velocity, like re-entering the atmosphere.
That's a great point. That's a great thought, though.
Yeah, because we know that they were dropped from like super high up.
Yes.
Right? We remember that they were talking about that or whatever.
Yeah, the Medusas. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that big pile came from like if they all fell and like re-entered the atmosphere and caught on fire, and the people knew that they would need to enter the atmosphere and catch on fire so that they could get that charring, so that they could shout and make it all work. Yeah.
That would really explain. I think that would really well explain it, right? Like the people on the moon who made them knew that like you build them the whole way, they don't even work yet. You have to send them through the atmosphere through super heat.
Yes.
So that they can work, right? And like maybe like that'll get explained next chapter kind of thing. Ooh, damn.
But then when they find the whole pile and they're all already charred. Oh, because then the battery is out and they're actually
they've been used.
Yes, they've been used now. Okay, but the fresh ones that haven't been used now have the charring because of the attack and can now
maybe.
Wait a minute, man.
Maybe that's all I'll say.
That is a brilliant idea, dude. I love that idea, dude. I also love how in this chapter, like adding back to the despair. You know what I mean? It does a really good job of giving everyone their moment before death. You know what I mean? Where some moments are really fleshed out, like Ryusui in his conversation with Zeno. Other moments are just characters going out doing what their role is like specifically designed for them to do. Like Taiju doesn't really get too much dialogue before he's taken out, but he runs right in front of the initial fire and then gets blown up. Like that's all Taiju needs for his like send off, you know,
Yep.
in this chapter. Obviously, if Taiju was actually going to die, you'd probably want Senku there, you know what I mean? And can't remember old girl that Taiju loves. Can't remember her name off the top of my head, but you probably want, you know, by the way, where, oh yeah, she's in Corn City. Yeah, that's right. But still, if this was an actual Taiju send-off chapter, you'd probably want Senku and everyone around. But the fact that, like, I feel like these people genuinely aren't dead, even though they're set up to be being killed in this chapter, I think that for what it's doing, these are beautiful send-offs for everybody.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And to fit all of that in a chapter, you know, is, while still having that narrative flow feel gradual and right, you know what I mean, is really impressive by Riichiro to give everyone the screen time they need in between all of the art and all of the events of the chapters is huge, dude. This is a big cast, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Another person I'm not seeing in most of the chapter is Chrome. I mean, like, Chrome is in the chapter, but I think the last page he's on is 16. When he's with Kaseki, like, trying to frantically, you know, perfect these diamonds, and you don't see him. 17.
So Chrome's
18,
gonna be
19.
the MVP, my guy.
I mean, the alternative is that he was in the hut that got exploded. Like,
No!
so on page 20, Senku it looks like he's running away from a grenade, but he's actually running to where the grenade is going. Yeah, because the grenade is going to Kaseki and Chrome. And so he was able to save Kaseki, but where's Chrome?
Oh, no.
You know? But you would never kill someone like this off screen. So, like, maybe, I don't know, like, maybe he's safe.
Especially when everyone else is getting full body blown apart shots. You know what I mean? Like, Ryusui, though, my favorite. My guy, bro. Going out with the biggest grin on his face, getting a fucking bullet straight to the chest. But, you know what I mean? Like, I just love characters like him.
Yep.
Love that page. Love that spread. Oh my God. But dude, I went into this review like not knowing what to think, and you just put so much hope into me, bro. With this char, with the char is necessary. Need that, bro.
That'd be wild. That'd be something for sure.
Yes, because then
otherwise,
yeah, because like that's really the only way it makes sense for them to get the Medusa working in time to freeze them in these near-death states. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, it's just gonna feel so weird if they legitimately die. They have this crazy tactical firefight with Stanley and the remaining protagonists left, somehow beat them, you know, without activating the Medusa or something, and then figuring it out after the fact with like 3% of their brain power, and then making the Medusas work, and then freezing everyone, and then reviving them, and they all come back to life. Like, no, that's not how it can go. You know what I mean? Like, time is of the essence. This is the only way to make it make sense inside of the time frame that they have.
In that sense, there's only two options. You know what I mean? Like, all these people are dead. All these people are legit dead. Taiju's dead. You know, Tsukasa's dead. Or they are going to succeed in making the Medusa next chapter. You know what I mean?
And
like,
the only way they can succeed with making Medusa, I mean, they do have Senku there, but it is very high stress, and they were not close.
And the lab is blown up. They just blew the lab they were working.
Yeah, and they were not close to figuring it out. It has to be what you said, bro. There is literally...
Or they just figured it out.
Or they just figured it out like right before the attack happened. And we just didn't see that light bulb moment.
And so like Chrome, like say Senku runs over, he's like, yo, we gotta bounce. There's a grenade right now. Like, right? And Chrome is like almost like a visual, like, yes, like a thumbs up with a diamond, like, I got it. But he runs the other way. He runs the opposite direction as Chrome and Kaseki. And he's like building it right now or something. You know what I mean?
That hypothetical scene just gave me like chills, bro. Like just seeing Chrome with the, you know what I'm saying? With the, bro. Oh man, I've never been so. I feel like I've been saying this a lot actually in the last couple of months, but I'm just gonna say it again. I don't remember the last time I was so excited for the next chapter of something. Like,
I mean, this is definitely a time to say it, right? Last chapter, we were both like, "Holy shit!" Like, like I need next chapter now. And this did not get any less tense. I'm not satisfied at all. So I need it immediately, like next week. You know what I mean? So like, whoo, damn.
Oh my god, so much, and I don't even think I have anything else really to talk about with the chapter. Is pretty straightforward. Yeah. But like, wow, dude. I think I give Dr. Stone chapter of the week for this.
Absolutely. I mean, this is as you were saying earlier, it's phenomenally well done. It's very rare to go this hard, especially for such a like a campy manga,
So
right? Like
bold.
as we've been saying,
So ambitious.
it's super bold. It's super
like,
bold.
Yeah, like this is, and if it's and we know that Riichiro has a plan for this, even though it's very hard for us to see it. I think that you have a really good idea, but like, it's so crazy how he went this route to go this bold. You know what I mean? And for the answer to not be obvious, so it gives us that anxiety and that uncertainty because we want to see him succeed with the writing in this. But like, this is, you got to play this close, fam. Like there's really got to be only one way this goes, and it's obviously the way Riichiro is going to write it. But just knowing that like there aren't many options is just so nail bitey. You know what I mean? Like God.
Whew.
Hell yeah, man. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good on Dr. Stone this week.
Yes, likewise.
Okay, getting into Mashle, Magic and Muscles, chapter 54. Mash Burn Dead and the Rampaging Serve. Oh my God.
Ridiculous chapter in some ways, but great chapter. I really, really enjoyed it for sure.
This is like this is what I praise Komoto for the most is his way to invent these ridiculously funny and badass at the same time strength feats for Mash, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like all the time, you know, and I was I think I've talked about it in this review before, but I always want to assume mangaka have plans, you know what I mean, for their stories, and all their hardest hitting moments you know, are thought out thoroughly, you know, and shit. And it most likely is for Mashle still, especially at this point, because it is still so new. But and it might always be this way. I don't know. But I don't know what's cooler. Like Komoto having all of these hilarious strength feats planned out, you know what I mean? Or him like just always just him being able to come up with these things like on the fly, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't like, because like, dude, pulling out an iron wand and literally sculpting it without heat is just like one of the cool, like one of the tightest things I've ever fucking seen, bro. And
for sure.
Like, if this is an off the top Komodo, like, all right, how's he gonna deal with this? Let's give him a tennis. Let's make him make it tennis, right? Like, if you just come up with that, like, that's so fucking good, bro.
Yeah,
you know. But also at the same time, if you just have all of these on deck, you know what I mean, throughout your entire series, that's even more. That's really impressive too. I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah.
But another thing is, I love how even though these enemies that we see always seem to kind of be one-offs, they always get really cool or poetic dialogue, like before they go out, which makes me think that they're going to be recurring characters that come back and maybe join the team and or at least influence the plot, you know, significantly thereafter. But it seems like now that this dude's been beaten, he's just going to be like swept to the side. This dude was a piece of shit. He didn't really have any reason for us to sympathize with him at all or anything like that. But now, like, kind of like subtly through this dialogue, I'm kind of like starting to fuck with this character a little bit, to the point where I don't want him to just be knocked out and be done now, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and Komoto does this. Like, he'll introduce a piece of shit. Oh, you're getting, Mash is gonna fucking throw you in a headlock and throw you off the fucking bridge, and we're never gonna see you again. That's what I want to happen to you. But then by the end of their arc, it's like, okay, yeah, you got what you deserve, but like, come back sometime maybe, bro. Right. You know, it's like kind of how I feel about it.
I totally agree with you, and I think there's a great example in this chapter. Go to page 5, right? So there's a really interesting panel on page 5 that I think ties very well into this. The middle panel, where I guess on the top he's saying, like, you know, I've got to honor someone, the fact that someone as strong as you exists in this world where everything is but a haze to me. And we see the world from Carpaccio's perspective. Right. And it's blurry and he can barely see what's going on. And then you think about his eyes, right? His eyes look so unique. And so I was thinking, what if the goddess statue is actually what is causing his vision to be like this, right? And from birth, he's always seen the world like this. Because if you think about it, in some cases, say if you have like a really bad hangover, or maybe the light is really bright, but light can be painful, right? Yeah. And so what if the goddess statue is permanently blocking some light from entering his eyes as a part of his overall damage reduction?
Oh, and like a condition that he just doesn't know about. Yeah,
right. He thinks the world is blurry, but really it's the goddess statue, like, kind of taking away some of the light from his eyes. So like it just looks blurry, but really it's the goddess statue interfering. So boom, page 14, Mash obliterates the goddess statue. It's completely destroyed.
Yep.
Then page 15, his eyes, bottom left, it's clear. He sees clearly Mash about to obliterate his head with this tennis racket. What if Mash unlocked his sight, his eyesight? And now he's going to get up. He's going to get up from this fight and be like, holy shit, I can see. And thank you.
Well, either way, this is a life-changing experience for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because clearly his entire like life just 180'd in a moment. You know what I mean? So I think that he's going to have a newfound appreciation for Mash either way. But just to add that, being like, holy shit, I can see clearly now, this statue's gone. It's like, I didn't mean to make that a pun, but
I can see clearly now, the statue's gone.
Oh no. Oh, but like I feel like either way, he's like liberated in some kind of way, and he's gonna be like, I love this Mash guy. But the way that this is really cool, what you just said, the way that I interpreted this was way different. I saw it.
Tell me.
I've got to honor the fact that someone as strong as you exists. ... In this world where everything is but a haze to me. The way that I kind of interpreted that is I've never had to worry about anything. I kind of just like go through life
in a haze, in a daze.
In a haze, because it's like I can't take like what, like I've never been scared. I've never felt pain. Like I can't really relate to anybody that I know. Right. You know what I mean?
Even your efforts are like almost tarnished, because like who cares how much work you put in? Like you're going to be protected at the end. So
exactly. And it's like even inside of the things that he's accomplished, he probably doesn't feel too great about on the inside, because it's like I didn't risk anything to accomplish this. You know what I mean? So I was thinking like, now this strong dude is here that is for the first time kind of made me kind of feel not 100% confident. You know what I mean? So I have to acknowledge this dude, because he's given me like my first like glimpse of like what it really means to be alive. Really, he probably like doesn't even know what life is because he's never feared for his mortality a single time in his life. You know what I mean? For any to any degree. That's kind of how I interpreted that. But if
makes sense.
But you know how I love my power system shit, bro. So if the statue was blinding him to some degree in order to give him damage redirection to this effect, then yes, give me more power system depth over like symbolism and
sure.
You know, well, I don't know, maybe not over. Maybe they could both exist. You know what I mean? Like I really like that idea, especially when you tie it all together with his eyes being drawn differently after the statue breaks. Like that really sets the theory off, bro. Like I love that. How could he? You really want to learn what pain feels like? I'll help. And I love how Komoto switches back and forth from giving Mash really badass dialogue in well-drawn panels and giving him really badass dialogue in really low detail gaggy panels, and vice versa with the comedy. You get comedy in gaggy panels, and you get comedy in really high detail panels too.
Yes.
And I was just talking with our homeboy Sean on Twitter. He made a post about like his fan casting for anime production companies for like specific manga that don't have anime yet. And he's like, what do you guys think of my list? And he had can't remember what he had for Mashle exactly, but the conversation was, someone said, well, that'd be weird because there'd be a whole bunch of Sakuga going on, you know, inside of a gag series. And I'm like, no, we want that, because that's how it happens in the manga. You know what I mean? Like you get these low detail gag panels, you know, that lead into these drastic page turns with like some of the best art in Jump. You know what I mean? Like you want to see that in anime form, you know what I mean? Where it's really low detail and then Sakuga, you know what I mean? To represent these amazing double spreads. And like, I think that is the dynamic you want in the anime, because that's how it happens in the manga. But
no, that's a great point. That's exactly the style, the theming of Mashle, right? Yeah. Like page 15, I'll help, and he's drawn all, you know, funny or whatever. And then page 16, boom. immense detail, badass as hell. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
I love like this page 16 where he just obliterates this dude's forehead. Even Finn is like, Oh, that was a bit extreme.
Yeah. I was sitting here thinking about it. He's like, you want to learn what pain really feels like? I'll help. And then you bash him over the top of the head and knock him out in one shot. He didn't feel any pain at all. He doesn't even know what hit him. You know what I'm saying? Like, this motherfucker you might have killed this man.
You might have killed him.
Yeah, that's not pain, bro.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Shoot.
Hell yeah, dude. And then, of course, the wholesome feels towards the end of the chapter here, you know, where... And it makes perfect sense. Like, obviously, when he's going to go say, I'm sorry, you're like, shut up, Finn. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, from his perspective, we got a lot of his internal monologues. We got a lot of his emotions in this arc. From his perspective, it makes total sense. Mash had to come save me again. You know what I'm saying? You know, I couldn't do shit, you know? So it makes sense for him to try to apologize here. But then for Mash to be like, nah, bro, you helped me out in a way that like is completely unrelated to how physically or magically capable you are in this tournament, bro. Like this is quid pro quo, you know what I mean? And like that's just like so
you got strength of the heart, baby.
Yes. Oh, it feels so good. So whose legs are these at the end?
Oh, I didn't even think of those as legs. I mean, it makes sense that they're legs.
Yeah.
Are they legs? I mean, they look really weird. And like, say like, look weird, say top of 18, there's kind of these pillars in the background.
Yeah, true.
I think those are pillars. I think those are very large rock pillars.
But if they're not legs, then you don't use this perspective unless someone is looking at them through these pillars.
That's true. So who is looking at them, right? That's the same, almost the exact same question, right? Yeah. Right. So that's a good question. Margaret? I mean, what's the last person you want to see turn up like after a huge battle, right? Like the next strongest person on the field.
Yes, dude, it could be Margaret. Yeah, but so did they won this this heat then, or this exam? Because
did they win? I mean, like, so one team, I think from my memory that there's 3 teams, and one team is going to get eliminated. And the other 2 teams of 3 are going to progress. So all that's happened here, we haven't even broken Carpaccio's crystal.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's right.
So our team is, you know, Mash's team and Finn, they're still in, but I don't think anyone's been knocked out necessarily.
Yeah, you're right. Because the only crystals we've seen break are Mash and Doubts, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't over. So then this is this is them trying to pull up and finish the game or whatever by breaking their shit. Okay, so so this is despair in that way. Because I thought that after this they were going to move on to the next thing, and that maybe this last panel was set up for someone who's going to be scheming in the next trial.
Sure.
But I think that this is people sneaking up on them to continue to try to win this trial. Absolutely.
Yeah. Or it's Doubt, and now we have the whole squad together, and it'll be a cool like 3v3 battle.
That's an ominous panel though for it to be Doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like some.
Well, is it ominous, or is it like the cowboy, you know, going off into the sunset kind of thing, right? Like kind of a sympathetic, I don't know, like emotional scene or whatever. I do agree. Like usually this is like someone's creeping from the back, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And let me just go back through here and see, dude. All of the I forget that people are watching this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all of these reactions while he's serving up the statue. Oh yeah, another thing. Okay, so last week when we were talking about at the end of the review, like what do we think is going to happen next week? We at least I thought that because the statue was broken and I thought that Mash was uppercutting Carpaccio into the statue and breaking it. Oh. You know, so I thought that the statue was broken as of the end of last chapter. So that's why I thought that now that the statue is broken, he either felt pain as he broke into the statue, or now that the statue's broken, he's gonna be like, damn, you broke my statue. And then they were gonna start fighting, and like he was either gonna flick him once and he was gonna be like, ouch. Right. Or they were actually going to start fighting and he was gonna be feeling pain, but it was gonna be a good fight, and he was gonna be like, holy shit, and it was gonna be like this like Gintama like style bloody like knockdown, you know, brawl, bare knuckle fight or whatever. But no, it turned into him having another level of the statue. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which was really crazy to see. And then it goes on, and then once the statue is in this mode, it goes on offense. Yeah. So like the fact that we got all of Carpaccio's character the way that we had it up until Mash showed up, and then boom, Mash shows up, beats him up, and now the stand levels up and then gets instantly wrecked before it really does anything. I think this really makes me think that this is going to come back as a recurring character, because like that's a lot for a character plus a transformation just for it to all go into the gag of the tennis racket thing, just for this to be it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's a lot, you know, for I feel like Carpaccio is going to be very significant in the future.
Sure. It's a fair assumption. I mean, on the other hand, it's hard to imagine how to work this character into the story because he's so OP, right? Like, if he can stab himself and kill another person, essentially. Right. It's hard to work that in to a battle generally, and unless it's against Mash, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially because Komoto has to introduce characters that are so strong to the point where, like, if another character, like there are just going to be characters that are so strong with their magic that only Mash can beat them because he's kind of a hard counter. It would be weird if, you know, there were like Carpaccio, for example. Now, sure, there can be someone with enough magic to get through this statue, right? But like, let's see, where am I going with this? So if you're going to build up the defense of this statue and the effectiveness of it to the point where we're seeing Mash kind of exert himself physically more than like we kind of really have up until this point. I'm trying to remember a time where he kind of had to go this hard before.
Maybe against the Obsidian, not Abyss Razor, but the Obsidian guy, the Innocent Zero dude who made the carbon spiky rocks or whatever.
Oh, sure.
That was a pretty intense battle too.
That was a really intense battle. Yeah, absolutely. So I want to say like it would be weird for Mash to have to go that hard in all of these fights just for someone else with magic to have been able to handle this person. I feel like what the series is trying to do is show that, like, yes, Mash is just that strong, you know what I mean? So if you have characters that are being introduced as OP, this OP, because you need to have Mash struggle, then you're going to have a bunch of characters that end up in this echelon of strength to where it wouldn't be very compelling to bring them in on the protagonist side because they were introduced as so strong that Mash had to struggle to beat them. So what if they're on Mash's team now, then like this better be end game shit, otherwise they're just gonna steamroll any issue that they have because they were a plot device, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Though I mean, like, now that I think more about it, we're only at 54, chapter 54, right? Maybe by chapter 100 we're gonna have huge epic battles of, like, say, like Carpaccio versus Margaret versus Abyss Razor versus Abel, you know what I mean? Like,
and other characters that have been introduced since then.
Yeah. Like, think of a third level mage versus a third level mage, right? Like, holy crap, that would be an immense battle.
True, that's facts. Yeah, and you want to know what? We have no way of guessing the scale of what this series is going to be. So you never know. Maybe you can work them in as protagonists based on how big the threats get moving forward.
Right.
It's like, man, are we ever going to see... Like, Mash has taken one hell of a beating, but has always remained super confident no matter what beating it. What is it going to be like when Mash is, like, legitimately on his back foot and, like, worried? You know what I mean? Like, are we going to get serious internal monologues of, like, this isn't good? Like, yo, like... I always thought my strength could get me through everything, but this time type shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is that gonna be?
I need that. That'd be so intense.
I know. If Mash is ever brought to that point, that will... I feel like that's something you have to introduce. Like you have to be careful with that, because like if you do it too early, then like you kind of ruin it. But if you wait too long, then like when you finally do it, it's like, okay, this has to be the final battle then.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. But if you throw it in at like the right spot, then it's like you never really need to revisit it again until the very end, and you already got that like big character moment, you know, from Mash inside of his gaggy, you know, character type, you know what I mean? Oh god, I feel like Komoto will kill that.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yes. Man, playing wall rally with a nurse. What a spread.
And the bottom middle of the spread, 12-13, like all the people, like, yipes, like people are not necessarily impressed by Mash. They're almost grossed out by how powerful he is. It's like, oh wow, that's something.
Like, I want to be somebody in this world. I'm watching this shit. Like, man, what chance do I have? Type shit.
Seriously.
Hell yeah, man. But I think I'm good on MASH, bro.
Yeah.
All right, getting into Black Clover, chapter 285, A Hellish Game of Tag. Love this chapter. It's one of my favorite chapters in a really long time. If Dr. Stone wasn't as drastic as it was, I probably would have gave chapter of the week to Black Clover for the first time in a really long time, because this chapter is like Tabata kind of like, it is still high octane, it is still like a lot of fighting, but it's like all focused around Noct.
Yeah.
And I feel like Noct is just the MVP, bro. Like for real.
For sure.
Noct is such a goat in this arc with everything that he's doing and how much Tabata is focusing on him as a character. And I talk about I kind of complain about how low the stakes feel in Black Clover to me, despite how big the threats are. But going through this chapter, it made me realize that like Noct alone carries like all of the stakes this arc for me. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
Just because of like how much we're seeing of his planning, struggling, taking damage, getting his thoughts and feelings off constantly, and now going into a super interesting flashback at the end that we can talk about obviously when we get there. But like inside of this arc, we've gotten some internal character work like done amidst all of the action, but it's always kind of like short-lived. But like with Noct, you know, and a strong example I feel like I have of this is inside of Jack the Ripper. We got that amazing chapter that focused on him and his flashback into that amazing, you know, triumphant like attack on Dante at the end. That shit was fucking everything. But then we go away from Jack after that, and then when we come back, he's pretty much cooked. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but with Noct, it's like we get all of this and he stays on screen. So when we see him struggling as much as he does, it's like I feel, at least for me personally, he carries the stakes that I feel like should be everywhere in the arc. But Tabata, and I understand it's a war, you know what I mean?
Right.
I understand that this is a war going on, so you have to switch perspectives, you know, a lot. But where Tabata shines is when he sits down and just focuses on one character for a stretch of chapters, you know what I mean? And I feel like inside of all of this Noct business, it's like I really feel the uncertainty and the disparity that this arc is trying to show, just in how what I think is going to happen in Noct, and the uncertainty with his character. Is he going to live? Is he going to die? I don't know.
100%.
That's the uncertainty that I've been missing inside of, you know, Black Clover.
Right. I think you nailed it on the head. Somewhere in the convention of using a lot of Noct in this chapter, right? And like it being a flashback, like this is a few minutes before everyone has arrived. Yeah. So it's like somewhere between where Guy Modello was like telling Asta like, yo, like Noct is in a bad spot here, guys. We really got to get back there. Yes. And then you know, chapters go like seeing how powerful these high level devils are, and then having a whole chapter of Noct. I feel like I've never felt stakes this high in Black Clover. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like it actually feels like Noct is gonna die. Right. And he might. He very well might. And I would not be surprised in the slightest. And it really feels. I'm really feeling it. I'm on the edge of my seat. Yes. For sure.
Right. And you know, and you have this world-ending apocalyptic, you know, calamity on our hands here. You know what I mean? And I'm not worried for the world. I'm not worried for, you know, anyone fighting like anywhere else. You know what I mean? Yep. But like Noct is really being written into a situation that feels really desperate, and it's being really well done and well handled by Tabata. And it, you know, as much as I wish that I could feel the stakes throughout the entirety of the situation, as long as it's somewhere, like I'm cool. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like this is really good right now, and especially inside of all of this development that we're getting for Noct with this Gallus mode. Now we're seeing more. This transformation is fucking amazing. I didn't think anything was gonna beat the cat, bro. This shits on the cat for me.
I think the cat looks cooler, but this is second for me. This looks cool as hell. Man. Like Plague Doctor, almost like a voodoo. He's got the top hat like Baron Samedi, you know what I mean?
Yes. And then into the Plague Doctor mask, and then into the talons on the hands, and then into the plating on the feet with the stark blacks everywhere else, bro.
Also,
it's beautiful.
Page 5. Cock-a-doodle-doo!
Yes,
you know what I mean?
bro.
What is this, Rooster Fighter? Yes. This is Rooster Fighter.
I love that silhouette there, dude. That's just like so creative. Yeah. And, like just so cool. Tabata was really in his bag with this chapter, bro. It's like I don't really care about these demons so much as like, you know, as characters. I'm sure we're not really supposed to care about them too much as characters. They literally just keep repeating kill, break, torment, and other various.
They're cool.
Like,
they're drawn very cool.
They're drawn well. I wish that there was a villain that I could kind of like attach myself to in this arc. I feel like that would really just be icing on the cake. And it would really, like, especially coming out of how much I didn't like the elf arc and how much shit that I've been talking throughout this arc. If it, like, and now it's really starting to feel really good. If one of these villains could just get some depth and some, I don't necessarily need pathos or anything like that, but just something to just make me feel like they're more than just kill robots. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm just so tired of that. Like, I want to destroy the planet and survival of the fittest, you know, like motivations, you know what I mean? Like, they're just evil for the sake of it. I'm kind of like over that. But
I just had this thought, like, like other series right now, say Jujutsu Kaisen, right? It feels like PvP, say in an MMO style, right? Like it's players fighting players. This is PoE. This is PvE. This is the players just fighting raid bosses essentially, right? So it's not that these devils have any personality or there's no motivation of these devils other than I'd like to kill everyone, please, right? And of course you got to stop that, and you can have stakes in Noct, and you can have edge of your seat conflicts and stuff. But yeah, it would be nice to have someone I can be like, yeah, I wouldn't mind if you lost, I guess. Like, I don't know, like,
I'm kind of rooting for you a little bit. Like, I just want to feel like that, like, once. You know what I mean? Like, inside of this this conflict, because that adds to the uncertainty. It's like, not only do you have the uncertainty of like, are characters going to live? Are they going to accomplish 20, 30, 50% of their, we know they're going to be taken down before they destroy the planet. You know what I mean? But how much are they going to get away with before they're defeated? You know what I mean? Anything at all? Like, what? Is everyone going to walk out of here like okay to a certain to a certain degree? And it's like, if we're not going to have that, then like, give me a villain that I can relate with to some degree, or just like attach myself to in any other way than you need to be defeated. You know what I mean? Right. But either way, we got plenty of time here. It's not. I don't think it's fourth quarter yet. I mean, it definitely does feel like we're getting, towards the. I don't know where it's going. Honestly, I have no idea how much time is left in this arc, but it does feel like it is getting towards a climactic point.
Damn, like what if these high level devils are like, they're just meant to be big bads, but like when Lucifero comes out, say, what if he all of a sudden has some plans, has some thoughts, you know what I mean, about like, you've kept us down here this whole time, like, ooh,
give me that.
We can still get it. We can still get it.
That, or you want to know what? I just remembered, buddy, with the glasses that has kind of been like orchestrating this whole thing. What was his name? Norman or some shit?
I forget it.
Some regular ass like
the Diamond Kingdom, scientist mage guy.
I remember him having like a Morris, I think is actually what it is.
Morris.
Yes. I remember him having like a regular name like that. But yeah, he could definitely be molded into that villain for me, in this arc. He's definitely in a very good place too. He just needs the focus and the writing. You know what I mean? And I think that Tabata has him in a great place for that. So I'm excited for that now that I just remembered, bro. The art in this chapter, some of the best art like in a whole chapter of Black Clover, that I think this might be thoroughly the best art in one chapter in Black Clover that I remember. Because man,
10-11 spread.
Oh my god. These grays, I've never seen these grays. Like, what are these grays? Like, these are new grays, I feel like.
It really makes it pop over the stark black of the room, and then the white, and then the white of the flames and the ice. It looks really good.
Yeah, dude. Oh, and the choreography too. Like, I can follow everything. It's never been a problem in Black Clover. And when you really sit and just like follow all of the movements in this double spread, it just enhances Noct so much, bro. Like, positioning that Tabata gave him throughout this spread is like just so dynamic and cool, bro.
And like this dialogue where after he actually ends up attacking one with Equus or whatever, the horse Equus, the horse form, he's like, damn, like I knew it. My attacks don't even work at all.
Yeah.
And their magic is endless. I can't even defend with my highest defense guy. All I can do is keep evading till I die.
Yes,
like
bro.
That, I believe him. You know what I mean? Like that's powerful.
Yeah. These are such powerful lines of dialogue to give a character. Like, we've never seen internal monologues like these, you know what I mean? Like, from characters inside of Black Clover. It's always
certainly not I've believed, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You might think you're in a bad spot, but your friends are around the corner, like Yami's on the way, you know what I mean? Like, you'll level up in this battle.
Right.
Like, Noct is a seasoned veteran. He's not leveling up anymore.
And
you know
he's
what I mean?
exhausting all of his kit. He's literally dumping the clip and having no effect. And he's coming to terms with how it's not enough. You know what I mean? Like we don't ever like I at least I don't really remember too many times where like someone has been this resolved to or resigned to their fate of just losing and dying, but still kind of like, you know, fight, like still doing everything they can in the meantime. Like that's cool in and of itself, but it does always feel like whenever a character is in this kind of position in Black Clover historically, that they're either kind of down on themselves for a second, but then go, nope, burst past my limits, whatever the fuck it is. It's always very short-lived that they're in that pessimistic state. But Noct has been pessimistic about this entire situation the whole time and has been saying like, yep, knew that wouldn't work, knew this wouldn't work, I'm gonna keep going, yep, these motherfuckers are way too strong, I don't have what it takes, I'm gonna still do it till I can't no more though. But like there's not that feeling of the power up is coming, the homeboy is coming, you know what I mean? Like it feels real. Like shit is like shit has hit the fan for real inside of this character. Yeah.
For sure. Even on page 3, where he's like talking about Jack, right? He's like, Jack's gonna have a rough time, but I'll just have to bet on him, right? Like it almost feels like he doesn't really believe it's gonna work. You know what I mean? But it's like, but what else can I do? I can't fight all these people at once. I have to rely on Jack here. Okay, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. And Dante's still over here. I thought Dante was gonna be on some like, you know, middle of the fence type shit after the big bads. Like,
sure.
Out. Yeah, after like the
because he looked so surprised when the Devils came out, right? He's like, oh shit, but he's like, nope, this is exactly what I was going for, baby. Yeah,
this is the world I wanted. Utter,
which is like, and we were talking about villains, trash villain, like absolutely garbage villain, but it's fine. Like not every villain needs to be like all well hashed out and like good motivations and stuff. But Dante is not that for sure. Let's not have any illusions that Dante's a good villain.
And I thought that we were gonna get like, man, we got a couple flashbacks of Dante before he was in this situation. And I thought that that's where we were going to get some kind of pathos or some kind of you know deeper character writing for him. And I just don't remember it being anything other than
he was just like a psychopath,
and
right?
I've always sucked. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I like killing people or whatever.
And it's just like, damn. Oh, could have been Dante. I do still have hope for Zenon, whatever his name is. I do still have hope for Zenon. Megikula and Vanica was kind of there. Like I remember thinking that it was cool back when we were getting the Vanica versus Noelle chapters that we kind of got a little bit of Vanica's motivation. She's like Apocalypse from X-Men or just like survival of the fittest. If you're not strong enough to live, then fuck you, type shit. But if you are strong, then I like you. You don't usually see that inside of like female characters, that motivation or that outlook. You know what I mean? So like that was cool, but then like that unique was just that was unique, but that was just like the end of her death. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, whatever, that's fine. But there's still Zenon here. You know what I mean? And he's clearly seems to be the overarching big brain player of the whole thing, where Tabata kind of had Dante in the forefront. So I love that subversion. I just need I need Tabata to hit that fastball. You know what I'm saying?
Ka-king!
Yeah. but yeah, bro. Wow.
So like then after the Noct fight, we get this like at the end of the Noct fight, it's like I like this dialogue in 14, right? Like the fact I can't forgive you and your unjust evil is why I'm alive. And then it goes right into the flashback. So I'm like, ooh, damn, like do you have some deeper like connection to devils that like we don't even know of yet? Obviously he's super good with the Devil Union, having 4 devil contracts or whatever.
Right.
But like are devils like related to his backstory in some way? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or is it besides ... totally separate subject? I don't care if I die anyway. But let's talk about this flashback because it's super interesting.
The flashback is crazy because it's like, holy shit, like this is subversion I was not expecting. You know what I mean? Obviously, you never really expect this kind of stuff. But like, I wasn't ready for it to be like, yeah, he's a twin. And he's not the one that like looks like Noct in this flashback until the very end when he's like Yami's talking to the blonde one and he's like Noct. He like calls him Noct. And it's like, okay, so wait, so now this one is the Noct that we have in the war? This blonde dude smoking is the Noct that we have in the war right now, and he just like eventually adopted his brother's look for some reason?
It could be. Like, it could be.
Or do
there's
you
only two
think
options.
that the one that looks like Noct in this flashback is the Noct that we have in this arc right now?
So I think what we're meant to think is that the one that looks like Noct, like looks 100% like Noct, is Noct, right? Yeah. But back then he went by Morgan, and then for some reason that we'll learn in the flashback, he took up his brother's name.
I think because he dies. I think because this one that looked like Noct, the one that looks like Noct in the flashback probably dies, and then because remember, okay, the first time that we found out that this brother situation was a thing, we talked about this, and we talked about how I think I had an idea that Noct maybe had the good brothers, outlook, but then something happened to him, so then he adopted that outlook moving forward and is carrying, that will. And he was like, man, you were all about rules and by the book and whatever, and I was very rebellious, blah 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 blah. And then that rebellion inside of this, David Bowie looking Noct, that rebellion got his brother killed. So then he's like, shit, man, I suck. And now to pay respect to that brother, he takes on his ideals of proper, by the book, pro-establishment thinking, and took up his aesthetic as well to kind of like pay respects. Is kind of how I'm taking it.
I guess to reiterate, right?
Yeah.
There's two options. One, the black-haired Noct in the flashback, who is called Morgan, in the flashback, takes up his brother's name for some reason, or the Noct, the person who's blonde in the flashback, who's named Noct in the flashback, takes up his brother's aesthetic for some reason in the flashback. So it's really a question of which of these twins is alive right now, right? Like it's and I don't know, man. Like,
I know this is good stuff, dude.
Since the blonde one has like this bad boy look, like David Bowie. Oh my god, again, David Bowie from Labyrinth, I guess. Yeah,
Labyrinth, right? David Bowie. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But since he has this kind of bad boy aesthetic, that I guess to me is like, okay, like maybe devil related. So that's why he has 4 devil contracts, and that is Noct, like Noct. Yep. Like Noct from the past is Noct from the future. But he wanted to fill in for his brother, or take up his goodness or whatever. Like something bad happens, we took up his brother's, not just his goodness but his looks, right? For some reason. But I mean, I could also see like
it could also be where this is Morgan is the Noct that we have right now in the story, and this rebellious brother died, and then he took the name Noct and really went steadfast in his by the book approach and pro-establishment approach because the rebellious nature of his brother got him killed. Yes.
One of those two. Either I don't think we can know necessarily, and the name swap, so interesting. Like, what an interesting technique from Tabata, right?
This is what I want from Tabata, like all the time. You know what I mean? Like all this action stuff is whatever, but like I care about this so much more than the war right now, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like Tabata is so good with these characters. He can write the shit out of these characters and these subplots and shit like that, but just wants high octane action in our face all the time. And it's like, let it breathe, bro.
Right.
I love what you're doing here. These fights are amazing. This choreography is incredible. The everything about your art is no complaints, but like, come on, man. Let's get some, like, let this breathe. Like, and it is, you know what I mean? And like, hopefully, like this is where we kind of like sit for a little bit to cut up this action, you know what I mean? And really drive home some more things other than threats and like, bombs going off, you know what I mean? Like,
I would like to think that like, I would like to think that breaking up the biggest battle ever in Black Clover, right? The hugest battle, the hugest stakes, the biggest abilities, breaking up that, like, which is like pure action that everyone wants. Most people who read in Black Clover want this pure action. It's great. To break that up for a flashback. This flashback, I hope, is going to be fucking peak.
Oh yeah,
peak storytelling. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
it better be fucking peak. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
I am so
hopeful. We're gonna get some good shit here.
I'm confident because that Jack flashback was fucking amazing.
Yes,
and you know, we know Tabata's got it. He could definitely, and Noct, I feel like, is a character that means a lot to Tabata. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
He's getting huge focus this arc. And you know, like Tabata's got something ready, you know, for this motherfucker, bro. Like if the Jack flashback slapped that hard, this Noct flashback is going to be different. Yes, as fuck, bro. And I cannot wait for it.
Likewise.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I think that's all I had for Black Clover, though.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, My Hero Academia, chapter 305, Izuku Midoriya and Tomura Shigaraki. Another massive chapter.
Yes. And this is very, like, we the whole chapter is very in line with, you know, some of the ideas we were having last week, right? About like, what was that question? What is this question? Can you kill Tomura Shigaraki, right? Like, I think we were pretty much on, you know what I mean?
We were really close. So like,
very close.
Because I think what we were talking about last week is that she's either asking because she wants him to and wants to see if he has it in him right now to do it, or because she wants him to say, like, yeah, I can, but like, let's get him out of All for One and then kill All for One. And like, she was like testing him to see, like, that's the answer I want. But it looks like what we get is she was asking him because she wanted him to give the answer that he gave, because they all agree that Shigaraki, after the shared space, is someone who needs to be taken out of that situation. You know what I mean?
To be saved. To be saved. If we can, save him.
If we can, absolutely. And I love how the line of dialogue in here, you know, from Deku, you know, is like, hey man, maybe he does gotta die. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm gonna try to save that motherfucker first. You know what I mean? And if the time comes, I don't know what I'll do. But it's cool to hear that that's a possibility that's on the table. You know what I mean? Because like, this is the contention in the community for My Hero Academia as far as like this theme. And does Shigaraki deserve to die? Does saving him, you know, damn X amount, you know, of future people, you know what I mean? Because repeat offenders, and what if he's not reformed, and how many people did you just kill by saving him instead of killing him? These are complaints that like you see inside of the Batman community, because this is a huge complaint for Batman. A lot of people like to compare Deku and Batman storytelling, you know, recently. I feel like a lot more than
because of this exact situation, right?
Because this is like the situation. Batman's villains are too heinous. They're too far gone. They're too incorrigible to hope for reform for. Stop throwing them in Arkham.
Right.
Because you know that their security is trash and they're going to fucking break out and kill 1,000 people. Like, why are you saying that the Joker's life is more important than, you know, X amount of Gotham civilians that you live to protect? You know what I mean? Like, you're not dumb, Batman. You know, so like, that's the argument, is how many people is Batman killing through his inaction? So now you have this situation, is Shigaraki too far gone? Are you killing people by saving him? You know what I mean? So it's really cool to see the arguments. But what's great inside of My Hero Academia is that they do acknowledge that inside of the main character, where he's like, hey man, I might have to kill this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what I'm gonna do when that moment comes. But as of right now, just know that I'm a shoot with y'all. Like, I'm a shooter. But like, I'm gonna try to do it the best, most All Might, symbol of peace way possible. And that's what everybody wanted to hear in here. You know what I'm saying? And you even get fucking All Might's visage crying, bro.
Yo.
Oh my God.
Whew, so powerful. So powerful. Like he's crying tears of joy. Like, yes, I picked the right one. Like, all of my efforts, my entire life, keeping the flame alive, keeping heroism alive, I picked literally the perfect person. Like, yes. Oh,
if
so
Deku would have been like, fuck yeah, I'll kill him. Did you see what he did?
Yeah.
They probably all would have been like, shit.
Do you know what I was trying to do? Like, I tried. I don't know how. I'm sorry I failed, but like, you know, I'm gonna strike first next time, baby. You know, like
imagine their reactions. They'd probably be like, oh no, Deku, dude. Oh man, chill. Like, and then you probably get Toshinori's visage crying for a different reason, you know what I mean? Like, no, Deku, what?
You'd have his visage doing a facepalm, like,
yeah. Yeah, but dude, you want to know what? One thing that makes me excited about this chapter, and we could talk about all the amazing poetic like depth and everything. But what I love is that it shows these two that have had their face against the
I want to talk about this.
Time.
Yes,
and it's like, dude, this image training might be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, this might be like, hey, Deku needs y'all's quirks now. Come on out, y'all need to come out here. We got him in a coma. You know what I'm saying? It's time for that image training, bro. We need this motherfucker in spick and span by the time he wakes up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I totally agree with that. I think it will happen, but. Here's my question, and I do have a thought here, but my question is, why are they against the wall, right?
Yeah.
Why are they facing the wall?
Right.
Here's my thoughts. This is obviously the second and third, right?
Yeah.
This is the two direct descendants after the first, all for one user.
Yeah.
And all for one. No, one for all. One for all. One for all.
It's hard. It's tough.
It's always been hard from the very beginning. Anyway, why do these two have their heads against the wall? I think it is because they actually disagree. They think we should kill Shiggy because they were around in the worst time. You know what I mean? They were around in the time when All for One
was fully realized.
Taking over the country, people dying. The fourth, the one who has the cracks on his face, right? He was like, my time was a different time. Like, I basically had to be a hermit. You know what I mean? And I think the second and the third also know that they were in the heat of it, in the shit, in the worst of it. Yeah. And so I think they actually disagree with the rest of the group. Now, I think they will come around.
I thought they were like ashamed of something. Like, they maybe were like the two shadiest users of One for All before that symbol of peace outlook was really established inside of One for All successors.
Like, maybe they kind of worked alongside All for One a little bit,
or maybe like because we have this very black and white morality situation established by kind of All Might and his symbol of peace, but like maybe they come from a time where heroism was a lot more gray and these laws weren't established, and they maybe had to they were a little bit shadier, you know what I mean, than their the subsequent successors, you know what I mean? Right. And at least that's kind of just where my mind went, that they were just ashamed of like who they were or had to be in the time that they were heroes compared to everyone else in this council. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like where I went there with that. But for sure, I love what you're talking about right now, and I think I like that idea more than mine, actually.
No, I mean it's both. I think both are good.
Because
I think
you want that contention, you want that infighting, because that adds to the drama. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it leans into the moral blurriness, of the situation, situation and the series in general.
Right. Right. Them being ashamed. That's a good line. I like this idea. This, I think, plays into, say, page 4, where the fifth Black Whip guy, right?
Yep.
The fifth is saying, like, the first people that All for One tried to steal the quirk from was me and my successor, right? So the second, the third, the fourth, he never tried to get them, right? It could be because the fourth, obviously a hermit, there was no opportunity to do so. The second and third, maybe the second and third were actually working with, or not necessarily directly with, but like in the same direction, right? Like caught up in the fervor of liberation of quirks and quirk users and that kind of stuff, and maybe regret, as you're saying, some decisions they made back in the day, right?
Right. Yeah. Damn, bro.
And then something about the progression. Eventually, All for One realized, like, oh shit, like that quirk is getting beefy. I'm gonna need me some of that. And then started with the fifth user trying to steal it.
Yeah, this is very interesting, man. Very, very curious. Like, I'm so curious, man. I just need the next chapter, bro. And I love how it feels like we're going to stay inside of this space until this plot point is like wrapped up. At least I hope so. I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
Because like we just came out of hella conflict that went right back into more conflict inside of the Tartarus breakouts and the other jail breakouts. Then we kind of like chilled for a little bit and got some Todoroki family stuff. You know what I mean? So if we're going to continue that trend of like the wind down after huge conflict, then it makes sense for us to stay in this visage space or in this successor space. And at least to me, you know what I mean? Like, this is what the street's been waiting for. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is everything right now,
Yes,
like please
yes.
stay here.
Hell yeah.
God damn.
Ooh, man. Let's see what else we got here.
The biggest page for me, honestly, is when this 10 and 11, man. When Shigaraki's consciousness invaded One for All, when he was focusing so hard on his own dream, I felt it inside, all that rage. I felt a little boy crying. And then
Man.
Nana's like, damn, that's my grandson.
Nana.
Yeah.
Nana's panel, the lines up and down, like her soul dropped.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, because, powerful.
Because this is the start of Nana hearing the answer that she wanted from Deku. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because she knows that she has blood and emotional ties to Shigaraki. She's the one like, yo, can you kill my grandson? So that, and especially after everything Deku's been through, Nana obviously asking this question, it's like, I have to ask this from a professional standpoint of like heroism. Like, what will you do about this? But this is still my grandson, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I know how I would approach this situation, but we have to go with the current successors,
plans.
This is who's in the driver's seat right now.
Exactly.
So we got to see, we got to know, like, we got to know some things. We can't just put our emotions on our sleeve. We have to test this man and ask him, how is he going to go about this? And not only did he provide the very professional, heroic answer, but he also provided the very compassionate, human Deku answer. You know what I mean? And that is exactly what Nana, this is the start of her realizing this is the one right now. Deku is the one,
Now, I agree with that. I do think that is part of the emotion of that panel. Yeah. But I think another part of the emotion of that panel is that this is her grandson that we're talking about. And she admitted earlier in the chapter, right? Like, I abandoned my family.
Right.
And I created Shigaraki. And him saying, I felt a little boy crying, is saying to the grandma, your grandson was crying because of you. And so I think part of it also is her being like, just having it reiterated to her, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, like, damn, you're right. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
But I think also part of what you're saying, 100%, like, that she's like, on the one hand, like, God damn, that sucks, I did that, right? But also like, oh, yes, like, yes, he's going the right direction,
Yes. And I love how on this page it rehashes all of Deku's past conflicts and what he took away from them. You know what I mean? You have Muscular, Chisaki, and Stain, and he could tell that they were all fighting for something that they believed in, but he wasn't able to sympathize with them. They refused to back down. He didn't get an emotion, a moment of conversation like he got with Gentle. You know what I mean? And he's like, I never understood.
There was no time.
I never understood what made them turn out that way. I could tell that they genuinely were passionate and genuinely believed that what they were doing was the right thing, but they were just enemies at the time, and it was war, and I had to beat their ass. You know what I'm saying? Before I found out what made them this way. But I got to talk to fucking Gentle and Bravada or La Brava. You know what I mean? And that's why he's like, if I had that conversation, maybe things would have worked out differently, like with what he took away from Gentle and LeBron. And I just love that rehashing of his past conflicts going into why he's making this decision that he's making right now. I didn't get a chance with Chisaki, Muscular, and Stain to really see what was going on. And then you turn the page into this, parallel of Deku and Shigaraki as children. And it's like, this is the root of what Deku wants to find out about these people, why they are this way. He is like living reformation, inside of this society as a character, you know what I mean? And it's through his analysis of these characters that he can find out why people are this way. And this is exactly the kind of research the number one hero should do, because if you're going to change society from the inside out, you need his platform, and you need to make sure that he's actually the kind of person that you want changing the world in general. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it feels so good to know that Kohei has this plot line masterfully planned out and prepared, so that whenever things might seem like they're kind of going off the rails in My Hero Academia, we all know that it comes back to this continuity, and it feels so good every time. You know what I mean?
You are just literally spitting right now. Like, I love that, and I think that double down ties into how Deku wanting to save Shigaraki is the correct decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. How like, if you're trying to change hero society, you can't just kill Shigaraki. You can't just lock him up. You know what I mean? Like, that's like that's the society that created him. You know what I mean? Like that's literally the mindset that created Shigaraki in the first place.
Right.
And so getting back to the whole history of heroes, right? Hero society and how, like, oh, you select group of heroes, you can use your quirks, but all the rest of y'all can't. And if you do, you're villains, like literal villains, right? Like so like that I think perfectly ties it together. And how Deku is not only we know going to be the number one hero. He's not only going to change the world, but we know he's going to change the world already because he already is approaching the situation from the root.
Yes,
all the way down to the roots.
All the way down to the root. He's seeing, and this goes into Gojo's philosophy inside of Jujutsu Kaisen. He's like, I'm strong enough to literally kill all of these higher ups that are, causing these issues that I have with society. But like, people will just look at that and go, oh, so he just had all the power and just decided his outlook was the best and just wiped away everyone who thought differently than him. Now you have, people taking up the ideologies of the people he murdered and doubling down on this outlook on society.
Exactly.
So Gojo goes, you want to know what? I'm just going to teach the next generation to be as strong as me with my outlook so that like everyone just decides this is the way things should happen. And I don't have to just assassinate people. Everyone will just adopt this ideology because I'm raising strong people who share this outlook. You know what I mean? So, and inside of Deku, he's not like Gojo, obviously, but he has all of the, I don't know what word I'm looking for right now, but he has all of the, he has everything he needs. Yeah, he has all the traits. He has everything that he needs to change this world.
Sure.
And he is the kind of character who will change it for the better. You know what I mean? So it's
he has all the tools he needs.
Yes. And just killing Shigaraki will just spawn another Shigaraki.
Right.
Potentially worse. You know what I mean? But if the world sees that Shigaraki did all of that stuff in that city and he's like public enemy number one, and then you show the future number one hero liberating that character, and the binds that kept him in that evil, monstrous state. Sure, you can send Shigaraki off to get all the help that he wants and whatnot or whatever, and maybe it's all for naught and maybe he's too far gone, but at least the world saw Deku save this person before anything else, you know what I mean? And that is going to speak volumes to society when that happens, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But God damn.
An interesting phrasing that was used in this chapter, right? Where like early on, Deku says like, well, like, I don't know, oh no, this is before Deku replies. Page 2, right? The fifth is like, I don't know, man. Like when we were looking at him, he didn't really look that way to us. He didn't look like he needs saving or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then the first on page 3 says, that's how he was groomed. To use that word groomed, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I feel like it's it's an obviously a English word, old word, but has very specific connotations in the modern day, right? Like he All For One did groom him from a young age to be like totally different than how he would have normally been otherwise, right? So like and to have the first say that, right, like kind of just sets the stage for the whole rest of the chapter where it's like
it does.
Yeah, like it wasn't really Shiggy's choice, you know what I mean?
It all comes back to that word. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Even in a sitch like that, his eyes were filled with nothing but hate. And it's like still though, but it's like, man, even if Shigaraki like isn't consciously hoping to be saved, you know what I mean? Y'all were there in the shared space. You know what I'm saying? Like you saw that motherfucker was in a situation he was not trying to be in. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Like whether or not he was riding that wave, and using that fear and whatever other negative emotions that showed Deku he didn't want to be there, whether he was taking that and using it as fuel to continue his heinous actions, like whatever. But either way, the bottom line is that there is someone there that does not want to be there. You know what I'm saying? And I like how all of the successors don't have the same outlook. They don't have like they all kind of want the same thing, but they have very different thought processes on this, and we see that even though they're not really arguing. That's really cool and really well done. Like that makes them all feel so individual. You know what I mean? It could be very easy for them to all just have a hive mind about this. You know what I mean? But Kohei is giving them individuality even inside of this shared mind space, which is really fucking cool.
I wonder, like, if they have, are they this old? I mean, like, say the first, right? Is the first, like, quote unquote 150 years old or something because he's been around in the shared space this whole time thinking? Or like, do they have subjective time like that? Have, like, say like Nana, right? Nana knows Gran Torino's alive, and she's saying like, yo, like, tell him I said hi, right? Like, implying that she has at least some cares about outside the shared space, right?
Now you're making me think about how fast time moves in this space, because if this also works as a hyperbolic time chamber, oh my god. Yo, like what if time is like barely moving at all in here?
Deku wakes up from the coma and he's like 5 years more mature or something, right? Like, he's like, oh yeah, well, all right, what's the next step, guys? You know what I mean? Like,
so much image training.
You're looking great, Bakugo. How are you? How is your family?
Oh my dude, if we see like a drastically different, obviously Kohei's not going to completely change his character, but if you see like a drastically different character while him still being the same at his roots coming out of this, oh my god. Bruh, if this is a hyperbolic time chamber and he literally is about to just train in all of these quirks like throughout in slower time, oh man, I'm so ready for this.
I would love if there was some exposition about that, like, say from like the first or something, like, for the record, like, time does move slower here, right? So like, don't feel like you're wasting too much time. But like, never is specific, right, about how much time passes, and then like Deku is like, oh awesome, like I'll take my time then and train, and then it's like way longer than you think. Like it's not a hyperbolic time chamber that much. So like Deku spends like, say, I don't know, a few months in the space, and it ends up being like in a coma for like a month or a couple weeks or something, which is a long ass time in a coma, right? That's a long time in a coma, and it's like really scary. So it's like, and I feel like anything would be just so fun to read, you know what I mean?
And
like,
I'm remembering Radiant now too, with Seth, like in the Fantasia space with Mir. Man.
Woo.
Come on, man. Come on, Kohei.
All right, so page 7. I love this top panel of Shigaraki with these beautiful fractured wings or whatever, butterfly wings, and it's like, if that thing grows into the ultimate evil, then nobody will be able to stop it. And I think that makes total sense, because Shigaraki already can touch the ground and kill thousands of people in the surrounding area, right? Like, and he's only,
and that's just his quirk.
Like, that's just his quirk. And he's not even that old. He's not even fully mastered it yet, I'm sure, right? Like, I'm sure he can make it worse. And it's like, and that is a very good point, that like, yes, we should try and save him. Deku should try and save him, and there is that young boy within crying. But if things don't go the right way we want,
then we get this Mothman butterfly Shigaraki.
We gotta shut this down, because this guy is going to kill people. Like, really kill people. He won't be like the Joker, like randomly, like, gassing some people here and there, and shooting someone with a bang pistol or whatever, right? But no, this dude's gonna like vaporize Tokyo in an instant, you know what I mean? Like, it cannot be allowed, you know what I mean?
And I love this panel because it plays into like previous panels that we've got of him in the cocoon, and then there was another panel that we got where they were like, dude, we don't want him to, like, what's gonna happen when he comes out of this cocoon, and it showed him like halfway out of it with like barely any wings, you know what I mean? There was a panel like that, and then now we get the fully realized butterfly full wings, and it's just like, no, we can't let him get there, bro.
Seriously.
Oh man,
it is a terrifying prospect for sure,
dude. Yes, man. And it's like, Kohei's always been so good with stakes, you know what I mean? Like, all throughout the series, and that's one part, him just having a brilliant villain atmosphere planned for the series, but then it's also coupled with the exposition on the government and society and how well we understand how laws work. That goes into the stakes, you know what I mean? Because we have so many things to consider whenever a character makes any decision. That goes into it too, you know what I mean? So like, thinking about a fully realized Shigaraki on top of everything that the series has established so far, it's like, you're not just thinking about how the heroes are going to deal with that, you're thinking about like what that means, like economically, what that means, societally, as far as like emotions and drama in society goes. Like there is so much hinging on anything anyone does in this series that like Kohei's really built such a living, breathing world in such a small area. You know what I mean? And yeah, the prospect of a fully realized Shigaraki after what just happened is like
terrifying.
I don't even want to think. Yeah, it's like goddamn.
Yeah.
And it's like heroes are like in such a bad spot right now, dude. It's like things are not good in the world, man. And then you throw this idea out and it's like, man, it's like, what is Shigaraki doing right now? Just getting tighter in the background, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, how long is he going to be in this coma? See, you want to know what? Since time is of the essence in that way, I feel like this is going to be a hyperbolic time chamber situation where Deku's only going to be in this coma for like a couple days, but he's going to come out swole as fuck because time moves slow in here and he needs that boost. You know what I mean?
What he needs is for one of these people to have a healing quirk. Seriously.
Oh, man. Wow. Yes. Yo.
The only thing I can even think of that's relevant to these other quirks is like the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. No, the sixth. Sorry, the sixth after Black Whip. His mouth is hidden. Yep, his mouth is hidden. And then one of the first, the second or the third, one of them has like Ida engines coming out of his back somehow.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I don't know if that's like his suit, his like support items because his tech, because Nana is in her hero outfit, right? So it's not like this is just like street clothes and your soul or something, right? Like there's you can have your costume here. So, but yeah, I don't know,
Buddy,
man.
And Buddy, if you go to page 5, Buddy with the Bakugo haircut clearly has a bunch of tech.
Oh yeah, he does have tech on his hands. Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's part of.
He looks like old Bakugo. Yeah, it looks like he's got like Bakugo gloves and like a Bakugo haircut.
Oh my god! And then there's that like theory that this is like a time traveling Bakugo or something like that. Have you ever seen? Did you see that?
No.
Oh my god, dude! I like that day on Twitter. I was like, what the fuck is going on in the world right now? Like, you really think this is Bakugo in some capacity? What? Now, if Kohei does that,
doesn't Bakugo get all for one in one of the movies?
Yeah,
one for all in one of the movies.
He does get one for all in one of the movies. Oh,
so
I think that's what they used too. Oh, no!
I liked this chapter partially because Bakugo wasn't in it, right? I was like, oh, good. That movie, not canon. Official, not canon. He's not in the space. Fuck that. Never happened because it's not in the space, right? Like, it's not here. So fuck that. Never happened. I don't have that strong opinions. That's just my like, rough off the cuff opinion or whatever. But
I don't even know if I understand the theory entirely. Like kind of like glanced at it and I was just like, what am I reading?
Sure.
Like, yeah, but God, that'd be weird.
One last thing I had for this chapter. All of Deku's dialogue in this chapter, in the beginning, right, is it with these parentheses around
because it's muffled,
because he's muffled, right? I just love on the 14-15 spread, as he's getting into his bag, he's diving deep into what he is as a person, who he is deep down as a person, his pure hero, his ninja way, right? He's laying it all out, and as he's laying it out, he's not only having the veil removed from his mouth, but he's going into a child, right? As if his childlike idealism is coming to the front, and like I think it's just beautiful.
It's just showing that he's always known exactly what kind of hero he wants to be and is supposed to be.
Oh, that's beautiful, dude. Like, this is literally the Deku that was sitting in a computer, rocking his head like, fucking, oh my god, baby!
Yes.
Like, he's always wanted to be All Might. He's always wanted to save everyone, you know what I mean? Including Shigaraki. And I think it's very beautiful. I think you can take 15.
The best written, like, idolization, admiration, you know what I mean? Like this.
Yes.
Like when you keep, like, Deku's changed a lot throughout this manga, but to bring everything back to his roots, and especially now that we've been having this conversation about Deku's outlook being the correct outlook for society by the end of this series, everyone will share this ideology, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like it's going to change, you know, like All Might has had his idea, and Deku obviously wants to be but we know that Deku can't just be another All Might by the end of this manga. He has to be different than All Might in pretty much every way. in my opinion, you know what I mean? Like he can still, you know, be All Might at base, but there's got to be Deku specific things about his character by the end of the series that everyone understands and looks up to and assimilates into their own, you know, outlooks to some degree. You know, like he has to be the bottom line standard at the end of this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it feels so good to know that it's being written, at least the way that it feels right now, that same kid from chapter 1 who didn't know anything besides what he researched in his fanboy, you know, time of his life, that all of that still is the strongest theme, you know what I mean, and outlook in this series after throughout all of this growth that he's doing, all the way that these characters are changing. Some characters start with certain outlooks, end with other ones. We see all of these drastically shifting characterizations, but then knowing that it's all going to come back to Deku was right is just really a really good feeling, you know what I mean? For sure.
And like another way to view it, right? Say on the page, the last panel in 15, right? This kind of top to bottom panel of, but I want to save that little boy, and it's Deku as the little kid, right?
Yeah, because he wanted to be saved the exact same way, dude.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like go ahead, keep going.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that, like, I think you could take this panel out of context, make it a meme, and be like, but I want to save that mass murderer or whatever, right?
And they've been doing that.
Sure. And I'm a little boy, and I don't know what I'm fucking talking about, right? Yeah. So you can take it that way, but I really take it more in the direction of that childhood idealism. You know what I mean? Like a little kid doesn't know what racism is, doesn't know what sexism is, doesn't know what, you know, national borders are and governments and all these bullshit rules that we are built up over our whole lives, and we're in these systems, you know what I mean, and we just can't get out of them, you know, because it's just how the world is. And Deku's like, that doesn't have to be how it is. We could save everybody, right? Like I just think it's beautiful. I think it's
beautiful, dude. And it's just Kohei reinforcing these parallels, because there was an amazing side by side that someone put on Twitter earlier in the week that showed Deku crying at his monitor.
Sure.
You know, after he's been told he doesn't have a quirk, and he goes back to his monitor and he's like, it shows that, and then it shows when All Might told him you can be a hero, and he had that monologue where he's like, back then all I wanted to hear was thinking about his mom, and then it showed Shigaraki in the My Villain Academia arc coming out of his flashback of him as a child, staring at like a picture of, I think, his grandmother or a superhero or something like that. So that's the parallel to Deku looking at the screen and crying, and then it shows Shigaraki like in the My Villain Academia arc, like kind of like hunched over, and he has like a line of dialogue like, no, what I wanted them to say back then was ... Seeing that side, I didn't even remember that. Seeing those panels side by side, and then going into this chapter and seeing them as children next to each other in that double spread is just like, oh my God. Because he's like, especially, you know, when you have that panel of him being like, I want to save that little boy.
Yes.
It just, like, all I can think of is that side by side from My Villain Academia and like the first couple chapters of the manga of Shigaraki and Deku in the exact same situation with the exact same dialogue. You know what I mean? It's just beautifully poetic.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, what a chapter, man.
Hell yeah.
Did you have anything else?
No, that's all I had. Okay,
me too. All right, getting into the piece de resistance. One Piece. Chapter 1007, Mr. Raccoon Dog.
What a chapter for our little boy.
Yes,
oh my God.
This is the chapter that we knew we were getting. We hoped that we were getting last week, and we got. And it's everything that we could have hoped for and more, I want to say.
Yes. Let's take a minute for the cover here.
Yes.
Reader request: Caesar giving penguin children gas-filled balloons. It's just a fun time, right? Like, who doesn't love penguins? I don't know.
Yes, and
they all got hats on.
And I love the wholesome Caesar moments too, because he was such a piece of shit when he was introduced.
What a douche.
And he's not really on the team, but Oda's still giving him very like wholesome moments whenever he can, which is like, I just love that.
Right. It's yeah, a nice little a fun cover for us
Yeah.
here.
And okay, so
But
reader
yeah.
request means someone asked for this, right? Someone asked for Oda to draw this cover.
Yeah, it says at the end there
Yeah.
that TKE star AC. So like
Yeah.
we've had a lot of these. So if it hasn't been the, like multiple volume like story plot line, there's been a lot of these reader requests or whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, man.
Wouldn't it be sick to send one of those in, huh?
Yeah, and actually get it like done.
Right.
Oh
Right.
man.
It'd be so crazy. But yeah, so like starting off the chapter, we everyone's down. Like everyone has been obliterated by Boss Hyogoro.
Yep.
And we get some nice commentary, like say from Drake, right? Like, oh, I think I can see why people feared Wano so much.
Yeah.
Very, very cool dialogue, I think, exposition about like the level of Wano, right?
Yes. Like people should not be able to do what Hyogoro just did. Yeah. Especially in the New World, which is crazy that they would say that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. Like even in the New World, like as powerful as the New World is, this is another level entirely. And then like pretty much what I think what you'd expect from Queen in terms of like all the people on his team, like, why are you killing us, right? And it's like, we don't give a fuck about you. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Like you pleasures, like you failed, like you're a person who ate the smile fruit, all you do is laugh, right? Like you're a failure, right? And you waiters, there's no more shipments of smile fruits coming, right? Like
you're waiting
the people
for nothing.
the people fighting us blew up the factory, you know what I mean? Like blew up Punk Hazard, blew up the factory, stopped Doflamingo, like there ain't no more smiles coming. Like
you were literally always meant to just be there when we needed, and then as soon as we don't need you anymore, turn you into ice onis and die fighting for us is essentially what your roles have always been. And I love how Oda is giving this monstrous we've always known that Queen sucked. But like Oda just really doubling down on how shitty this person is, which makes me kind of excited because it's like at any moment we could get a fucking Queen centered chapter that just like, and we get the flashback, we get the pathos, we get whatever, and all of a sudden Queen is just top tier character. But I love how Oda loves to contrast though after exposition like this. You know what I mean? Make you hate them as much as possible, and then drop the the sympathy on you to some degree, or just more depth that makes us like care for this character more after feeling like all we want them to do is die.
Exactly. He did it with Dofi, right? Like Dofi, like you go from hating Dofi, absolutely hating Dofi, to being like, oh damn, like your backstory is actually really sympathetic and I actually really feel for what you went through. And then back to like, but you're actually really still a douchebag. So like, let's wrap this up, huh?
Right.
Biggest moment in the chapter obviously is page 7. No, mostly kidding. Obviously the end of the chapter is the huge one, but chopper hockey is that what we're seeing here?
Hockey, wait a minute. Oh,
isn't it?
No.
So like homie is about to chop off Hyogoro's head, he's coming for the slash, and Chopper comes in with the Gaki. But look, it's hard to say, right? Because like it's a very small panel, and Chopper's a very small little boy.
But his arm does look kind of black,
but he's blocking a sword with an arm. And he's a reindeer. That's hockey.
Wow.
That's gotta be hockey, in my opinion. In my opinion, that is fucking hockey.
Yeah, I can't see what else he could have blocked with. I mean, he has armor on, but
and he's got a sword at his hilt, but that's not a sword slash. Like that's not a sword block. That's blocking with his left hand.
Yeah, and Chopper's not cold enough with a sword to block with the hilt or something.
No way. No way.
No. And if it was something like that, we would have definitely got a line of dialogue. Like I learned this from Zoro or something. You know what I'm saying? Like we would have got something like that. Yeah. But no,
we'll see. But I'm pretty.
I love that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
my headcanon, hockey. He's got hockey for sure.
And I love how if it is like that Oda gives it to us in this like subtle ass way. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But what were you gonna say?
Oh, just that page 8, like this. Oh my God, made it just in time, and this boy Cupid, like oh my God, he's looking cute. He's looking like a little Chopper boy.
Yeah, one of the best drawings of Chopper since the time skip too.
Yes,
like this is just such a Chopper page that I feel
going
like
back to our cute roots. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But yep, he did the thing. We knew he would come in just in time. You know what I mean? And I love how he turned it into a mist. You know what I mean? Like everyone can breathe this in. This is brilliant. I didn't know how it was going to be administered, but I didn't think. Obviously, I thought of an inhalant Like you'd think of that, you know what I mean? But I didn't think that he had the means or the time, you know, or the resources to turn it into like we've only been seeing him with beakers and fucking vials and shit. You know what I mean? You know, pouring the shit back and forth. I didn't know how much extra time did it take for him to turn it into a bomb. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
all the time it took, it would be more time to make injections and go out to each individual person and do it, right? So like he spent a little longer. He barely got Hyogoro healed, right? So like that's how long it took him. But even Queen was like, where did the ship doctor from a crew out of nowhere get this kind of expertise? I love that.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is wild. This is a feat. This is a huge feat for Chopper.
And I love how even though Chopper, you know, is kind of been relegated to a background character for a lot of, you know, the since post time skip, you know what I mean? He had great showings inside of Punk Hazard and Fishman Island, don't get me wrong, but for the most part it's been more of a plot driven situation rather than a character driven one like pre-time skip, you know. But even though these characters have been off screen for so long, you reintroduce their value so drastically by giving high ranking enemies dialogue that acknowledges the skills of the sideline characters. So now it's like, Chopper hasn't really been around, but he just did this and Queen just kind of shouted him out. So it's like, Chopper is in full effect right now. And it's like, he's never left. You know what I mean? Like that hits so hard for me.
And then at the bottom of page 10, I love this panel of Chopper saying like, viruses aren't meant to be used as weapons. They will always slip out of your control in the end. And that is so very poignant, right? Like that's super facts. Like it is terrifying to think of, say how bad coronavirus is, right? Like imagine if someone actually tried to make a very deadly virus or something, right?
But just wanted it contained in a certain area because they didn't like you know, a certain
or they thought it would be contained.
Exactly.
And as Chopper's saying, they'll always slip out of your control in the end. Like it's just too dangerous.
That's how it always happens.
It's dumb as hell.
Like look all throughout fiction. Like I can name 3 zombie stories off the top of my head where once you find out like what happened, it was some fucking douchebag bigwigs at some mega corporation that was like, we thought it was we only wanted to take out this country because they were like arguing or not giving us the resources we wanted, so we just thought we'd drop this, you know, on them and they died. But no, we fucked up and it killed the whole planet. Like that's always how it, you know, like you literally always hear that. We did this for a specific reason. It went wild. That's literally 28 days later. You know what I mean? Like that's all of
they were
that.
They were trying to cure rage, and they made a rage virus. Resident Evil, they had that, and then fucking what's the last one I was thinking of? Damn, it was just on the tip of my tongue.
Oh no.
There's many examples.
Yeah, y'all know what I mean.
Examples.
So this line slaps so hard, man.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And I love throughout this whole early part of the chapter, right? Everyone is referring to Chopper as Mr. Raccoon Dog. Oh yeah, thanks, Mr. Raccoon Dog. I'm not taking lessons in ethics from a stupid raccoon dog.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks, Raccoon Dog. And then Marco's got Queen on lock. Chopper pops the rumble ball. I got one other thing to say. I'm not a raccoon dog. I'm not a tanuki. Kaboom!
And then slaps the shit out of fucking Queen, bro.
This bottom where fucking Marco and Drake and Hyogoro and all these people are like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Like, oh, fuck, dude. Even Marco's reaction, dude. Everybody is like, yo. Dude, and you want to know what? This is more credence for Chopper Hockey. Because he just smacked the shit out of Queen, blood drawn, damage.
Oh, okay. I mean, he is large.
He is large, but
I was kind
of making a joke there, but still, yeah.
Why didn't he just defend with hockey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you'd think that Queen. Oh no, man! It's the new world, and this is a Yonko commander, so you'd think that hockey would just always be in the equation. You know what I mean? In conflicts, you know what I mean? So
we've talked before, right? Like that you Oda doesn't draw hockey all the time anymore, right? Like it's implied. Everyone's using hockey basically. If you're doing Ryō, like he's gonna
show the Ryō
draw that. Yeah. He's gonna show that. But like Chopper could definitely be using hockey here.
But it is such a big hand. It is such a big hand to not show hockey on if the hockey's being used.
I mean, I don't personally think so. I think it's fine personally to not draw hockey at chapter 1007, right? Like
that's fine.
We've had hockey for hundreds of chapters.
Yeah,
Like
right.
I think it's fine not to draw it, but it doesn't need
weird.
to be hockey because he's a big boy. I think you can make blood from a zone type by hitting him with a hand. That's this.
This is just and it is a zone type too. So it's like, but Chopper is also a zone type. But I mean, like, zone types are known for their defense, not really their offense. So like, even though Chopper is big and a Zoan, like Queen's zone defense should really play more of a thing here than Chopper's size. You know what I mean? Especially since they're both big anyway. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, but you never know. I love Chopper hockey, bro. I'm with you 100% on Chopper hockey. I just want to say, like,
put me on that team.
I subscribe to that, and until it's confirmed otherwise, Chopper has hockey on this show. In this house, Chopper has hockey.
It's official.
Yeah.
and Kiko and Eagle agree.
Yeah.
If they didn't agree, they'd say something.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, Kiko. If you disagree, blink twice. Nothing. All right, let's go.
All right, Chopper hockey, baby.
Chopper hockey.
Here we go. Yeah, okay, so then we go into Yamato and Momo and it's been a night here. What's her name?
Shinobu.
Yeah. My apologies.
Yeah.
So just a little baby scene with them, but then it goes into this CP Aegis Zero.
Yes.
Talking about, and here we got to talk about this one, right? So this dude is talking about back in the day, when we had Kaido captive, Vegapunk extracted Kaido's bloodline elements.
Yes. And in the scan, this said lineage factor.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Yeah. That is the previous, I think, wording we were given. Yeah. Maybe the translation has now changed to bloodline elements as opposed to lineage factor. But lineage factor is thank you for bringing that up, because I was wondering about that too. But I only read the officials here, so like, but yeah. That's awesome. But yeah, use them to create an artificial devil fruit. This is so interesting, because why would his bloodline elements be related to his devil fruit? Like, it isn't Momonosuke's artificial devil fruit the same fruit as Kaido's fruit? He turns into a zone type dragon. Is Kaido a dragon?
Kaido is a dragon.
Who ate the dragon fruit?
The fish fruit that he has. Whatever fish fruit model, whatever, because we know it's a fish fruit because that's what Big Mom said. Remember, we talked about that.
Well, but didn't Big Mom say, like, I gave you the fish fruit and you owe me? But she didn't say that he ate it.
Yeah. So I think what this is
saying... Weren't we thinking, like, maybe Yamato ate it? Or maybe, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what we said, but I think that this is saying right now that Kaido is a dragon that ate this fruit. And so when you take his bloodline elements and put it into the smile fruit, it makes sense that the same dragon that we see Kaido become is the similar dragon that we see Momonosuke become when he eats the fruit. Because Kaido himself is a dragon, and then his devil fruit is something related to this fish fruit, is how I'm taking it based off of this conversation now.
So... yeah, let's talk about that one for a little bit, right? Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it, right? So like, when he's in his human form, he has horns. He has the tattoo that looks like scales, like a fish. He's immortal / invincible, based on the suicide chapter way back, right? Jumped off Sky Island and landed and didn't die. And then you think back then, like, well, if you're invincible, if you want to die and you have a devil fruit, why don't you just jump in the water, right?
Yes.
And die.
But you have the fish fruit.
And you have the fish fruit. That probably means you're immune to drowning.
Yep.
Which means you wouldn't die, which means that makes sense for why he's trying to kill himself but can't, because he's literally that strong and he can't drown. But really he's a dragon, which ties back to Ryuma way back in the day killing a dragon, tying it back into present day Wano, so we could have dragons exist. We know dragons exist.
Right.
Based on the Ryuma mythos, so a dragon could exist.
Yes.
Who ate, but why would a dragon eating a fish fruit let you turn into a person, right? Because we've seen Kaido in two forms currently. The person form and the dragon form, and now probably the hybrid form, but we haven't seen the full hybrid form yet, right?
Yeah, and in a lot of areas of fiction, dragons are wildly intellectual.
Yes.
Magic the Gathering. is a strong example. Niv-Mizzet, Draco Genius is like who comes to mind, you know what I mean? So if Oda wants to go into like that area of dragon lore, then you can say dragons are just smart enough and sentient enough to speak and act like people while just being dragons, you know what I mean? So could say that explains it. But I think the strongest thing that what feels the best to me, dragon first. Extract lineage factor, bloodline elements, whatever, put it into the fruit. That explains Momonosuke turning into this Eastern dragon.
Sure.
I think that is like bottom line. Like we can't like.
I mean, the only other alternative is that somehow a devil fruit changes your bloodline elements, changes your lineage factor.
Yeah.
You were a human, you ate the dragon fruit, and now you are a dragon person.
Yeah.
And if I extract your DNA, it's dragon DNA.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've never gotten any exposition about that ever.
That makes so much sense, though. Oh my god.
Does it?
Yeah,
does it make so much sense? I mean,
it does because they always say when you eat this thing, you become a blank man or blank.
Oh, he's
person.
a rubber man.
He's a rubber man. He's this person. Like you become that thing. So naturally, it probably extends to your DNA. Your DNA is changed entirely.
Okay, that I think that would at least explain it to the degree of Kaido's a person.
Yep.
Or some mixed race,
fish fruit model. Well, no, because all these
but he would eat the dragon fruit. He would eat the dragon fruit.
Right, and then he's just
holding
the fish fruit. Yeah.
Yes, and either Yamato ate it or he's holding it for something. Right.
But then that still doesn't explain if you want to die, just jump into the water knowing you have a devil fruit.
But maybe it's like even back then, you know what I mean? Like when I was talking about this with people, it was like, well, that's like cheating, right? Like obviously, yes. Kill me. Like, but yeah, like I want to die from like something a little more, interesting, than drowning, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But dude, I love this conversation. This is crazy right now because if he eats the fruit and then becomes a dragon man, then yes, DNA, it affects you on a cellular, level. Because literally, Luffy, prime example, any Logia, you know what I mean?
Right. Once we see Kaido's hybrid form, I think this is going to answer this question, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If Kaido's hybrid form is a very dragon-looking dude, and I think it'll be very obvious if that's the case, then we'll know, okay, well, the thing that was extracted was a dragon.
Yeah.
And that means that Kaido is a person that ate the dragon fruit, and if you eat a fruit, it changes your DNA, your bloodline elements.
Yep.
If he looks kind of fish-like, then I think we have our question answered, right?
Yeah, for real though. Wow. Oh,
damn.
No.
But then there's this like last panel on 15, right, where it's like this dude is like, I was just thinking to myself, thank goodness it was only a failure. And I wonder what that means because like Momonosuke seems to be able to transform fine.
Yep. And what this means to me is that thank goodness it was only a failure. No, I'm wrong. This shit was full effect, and Momonosuke has it. And like we've only really seen Momonosuke in this form, right?
Yep.
And he hasn't done a hybrid or anything like that. And the only effect that we've seen is that he conjures these clouds to walk on and produce flight. But like if he's saying thank goodness it was only a failure, and that means that he knows the potential of the fruit if it was a success.
Yes.
So Momonosuke's about to turn the fuck up, bro. Oh my god.
Also, if it isn't a failure, it gives us nice background description of Vegapunk.
Yeah.
Vegapunk, he was never happy with the results and considered it a failure. What if that was a lie? Because he's just using the world government to get resources for his science, but he actually knows the world government is really shitty, so he didn't want to give them such a powerful fruit that was not a failure, it was a success.
Yes.
And he wanted to keep it for whatever other purposes, right? And then
using his like the huge gap in intelligence, right?
Yes.
It's like it's very Iron Man because Iron Man's origin is he's captured by Viet Cong and they're like, you're the fucking like warmonger, bro. Make us the same weapons you make back home. And he's like, all right, I got you. I need all of this stuff. And then they bring him all of the stuff. And then he takes the extra stuff and builds the fucking Iron Man armor with it underneath their nose. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Version
they just leave him to his devices because they can't comprehend the work that he's doing. So they
can't even tell what he's doing.
They can't even tell what he's doing. You know what I mean? So they don't know that he's like building their thing for them while also making, you know, the Iron Man armor to break out with, you know what I mean? So it's I very much have always thought that Vegapunk was on that kind of shit inside of the world government. Like, you've got me, you know, by the beard. You know what I'm saying? I gotta play by your rules, but I'm doing some other shit on the side disguised by the real work I'm doing for you. You know what I mean? So love that.
All right. Now we get into
the big shit.
The big shit.
Bro,
Chopper
didn't I say
hockey.
I am going to go in and find in our reviews the clip of me saying I don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know how Oda's gonna make it make sense, but Odin is coming back in this arc to some capacity. I said it on the show, and I had no evidence. I had no backup. Nothing. It was literally just, I have this feeling. It doesn't feel 100% right. We're gonna see Odin somehow again, and I think I got laughed out of the room. I think this might have even been before you were on the show. Maybe. I can't remember. But I'm gonna find that clip, son.
If I was on the show, I might have been the one laughing.
Kiko definitely laughed me out the room, bro. I swear, I distinctly remember. I was like, I don't know how it's gonna make sense, but Odin coming back.
I definitely don't know how I feel about this. I don't know what is happening. I will say, I will say that going back to, I think, chapter like 1004 or 1000, I think it's 1004. At the end of the chapter, right? Like, we see the scene of someone taking care of Kiemon and the rest of them, right? Like, and people were saying, oh, it's Enel, right? Obviously,
I said that.
right. And I think obviously people were, I think, mostly joking there. I mean, the thing that is probably hair did look a lot like one of those long earlobes, right? So like I think there was something there. And obviously, we want Enel to come back so badly, right? But what I said was Lady Toki.
You did say that, yes.
And I think that makes a lot of sense, especially since, you know, she has hair that looks like that, and who else could appear, right?
Right.
Now the question is, did she bring Odin with? But how, right?
Yeah.
Like, can she also go back in time? Can she only go forward in time? She can bring people forward in time with her, right? Like, or rather, she can send people forward in time. That's how Momonosuke, Kiemon, Raizo, Kanjuro, all these people are in the present day, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, Odin died,
right?
Presumably
Shot in the forehead and then melted into the oil. Body is gone.
Boiling oil.
Yes.
Was in there for like an hour or however long it was, a day or long ass time.
We know that was really him there.
We know, yeah.
Or was it not?
Right? It like has to be.
But
otherwise,
see what he says?
What was
You're so much older now. That is the line of dialogue that like kind of seals this a little bit. Because it's like, you're so much older now. Wahaha. Does that imply time travel for Odin? Because if Toki went back in time and then brought him back forward in time, then he's still going to be whatever age he was at the time that she went back to go grab him. So that when he comes back here and all of these guys are older now, it makes sense that he'd be like, you guys are so much older now if he traveled through time. Because if he just survived that whole thing and then aged properly, why would he say that?
Oh, no, definitely. Like, I don't think, I definitely 100%, if this is Odin, he's not been chilling this whole time.
Right.
He was brought into the future by Lady Toki.
Yeah.
That much is a guarantee. Now, that's interesting. The so much older line, I was thinking was almost evidence against it being Odin. Because I'm gonna turn that back, right? Because I since you said something, I don't believe that anymore. But like for example, Kanjuro, Raizo, they aren't older. They were also sent forward in time.
Yeah.
Right? But if Lady Toki first went back in time, got Odin alive, and then forward 2 jumps, right? So like from the time when Odin died, jumped backward, one jump.
Yeah.
Got Odin. Then both of them jumped twice into the future.
I think what you're saying
20
is
years.
because I think Toki does save them, and Toki's here with Odin, and we just haven't seen her yet.
Yes, exactly.
I think that was Toki in that last chapter saving them, and then now Odin jumps through the door, and Lady Toki's behind me for the explanation.
Right. Now then, in this case, Odin would be 20 years younger than you think he is.
Yes.
He isn't the Odin that died.
Yep.
In the boiling oil.
Yeah.
He's 20 years younger. Yo. And that's why he's saying, like, I've missed you. You're so much older now, right?
Yes.
Now, part of what is so difficult about this is that time travel is very difficult to handle in fiction, right?
Yes, it is.
If you take Odin out of the past, 20 years before he died, then how was he there when he died?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. Now, on the other hand, right, that we have had a character who transformed into Odin in that battle, right? Had the Mane no Mi or whatever, right? The face stealing fruit that Bon Kure has, but Bon Kure has that fruit, and Bon Kure has never seen Odin and never touched Odin's face, and so like, how could he transform into Odin? It can't be Bon Kure. It can't be the old lady from the past.
She's dead.
Wait. Oh fuck, is she dead?
Yeah, they killed her.
Okay, good.
Because that's how Bon Clay has the fruit in the first place.
Right. Oh, jeez. Like, damn time travel. So complicated.
Time travel. But what were we talking about? With Undead Unluck handling time travel so well, what did we say after those chapters in our review? We said the only other mangaka that we can see handling time travel,
right?
You know, like you think of, like, this is crazy. You're not supposed to be able to handle time travel this well, but Tozuka's doing it. Like, only thing motherfucker I can think of that could masterfully handle something this dangerous is like Oda.
Will be Oda.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And now here we have Oda.
I certainly do not question his writing at all. Like, I know this is going to work out. Yeah. This is just the most unsure I've ever been of what is going on in One Piece.
Yes, and this goes back. This is really testing, you know, our, what do we always say on this show? Oda's gonna make shit weird. Just wait and see what he does, you know. And then now we're here, like, this is like us being pushed to that, like, because this is so impossible.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love Odin. I think he's one of the best characters in One Piece. So it's not like I don't want him to be here. It's just that, like, I really
make sense. Yeah,
I just want it to make sense, and I really liked his death. You know what I mean? I thought it was very powerful, and it really hit me to my heart. So, and it's like, if you undo that, like, is this undoing it? Like for example, like, would they be like, I thought you died in the oil, and he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm from 40 years ago.
Wait a minute. Whose swords are these?
Dude, I literally said that when I read it, right? Like, this cannot be Enma and the other one.
Ama no Habakiri and Enma.
It can't be. At the very least, it can't be, because Zoro's got Enma. So it can't be Enma, right? Yeah. So what are these swords, right? That's where time travel gets fucked up, right? Like, this is the exact kind of stuff that quickly starts to break down. And that's why I'm honestly not even convinced this is Odin. Even given Lady Toki, even given the ability of time travel with Lady Toki, we don't know if she can go back in time. But even if, for example, I don't know, like, Lady Toki, like, was able to save Odin, he didn't actually die, didn't die from the headshot, he didn't die from the oil. Everyone left the area, and she was all, I have no idea. To try and figure out how she'd save him, you know what I mean? Like, but Oda is never someone I would question his storytelling. Right. So I'm sure it'll work out. It has to work out, but it's just like, yes, like you said, the most unsure that I've ever been about what's happening. This is so ridiculous. But I got 100% faith in this man. And whenever we get this explanation, bro, the timeline is going to explode. I swear. Man. Yeah, I don't know. Did you have anything else for One Piece? No, I don't really. Yeah,
I feel like
mean,
if we continue talking about One Piece, it's just going to be us infinitely theorizing about Odin.
Right.
And we're going to be going back through the chapter to try to find evidence that's not there.
Right.
And it's just going to be, yeah.
I'm never even really one to theorize too heavily about One Piece because as we've said before, right? Like, and as someone told me back in the day, like, One Piece is one of those stories where anything you think of, Oda will do it better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's always going to be better whatever actually happens. So what's even the point of me thinking too hard about what is going on? Let's just let it happen, see what happens, right? Like, I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think that'll do it for this for One Piece. Yeah.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
And that'll do it for this episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did, make sure you slap a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Hit subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell next to subscribe so we can chirp you when new content is live. And while you're in that area, visit our description section, which is where you're going to see our link tree. That's going to be where you can follow us on all of our individual social media accounts. Follow us or join our online communities like Discord. You can also listen to the Project Manga Podcast wherever you normally listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, what have you. And there's also ways that you can support what we do here by visiting our online store or Patreon. But with all that said, this will be another stupendous episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Wrapping up, I'm Knox.
I'm Nickums.
We'll catch you on the next one.